You need a great opener, like somehow we're adults. Do.
We can record that right
some
now.
Some kind of like.
We can record that right now.
Everybody be quiet.
Somehow we're adults.
I would say I don't think I've ever been in a Sprouts, but I've been in the one that's very similar to
Pull
it.
it closer to you.
Oh, sorry.
There you go, brother. You're good, brother.
I've been to the one that is very similar to Sprouts. It's some
Fresh Market.
Yeah, that's it. Fresh Market over there.
Another rich white people one.
Yeah, we were working one day, super out of place when I walked in there, like boots, jeans, sawdust.
Yeah,
probably had a mullet at the time. Like
all the trophy wives like turn and look at you like, the fuck is the worker doing here?
What is this? Yeah, right. Like not knowing.
Yeah, right.
Pull out my Louis Vuitton purse wallet, and they're like, "What's happening?" Yeah, no, those places always make me feel so funny because it's like I can definitely afford to be there, but I don't want to be able, like, I don't want to afford the price.
Yeah, right. No, you get like a fucking grocery bags worth of food for $100, and you're like, fuck this, dude.
I always pay for lunch. So, like, if you work for me, I pay for lunch, and I mean, if you need breakfast or whatever, I'm not gonna make you work hungry. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'd rather you be productive than this. So, like, generally, and I'm the one cutting the tree down. I'm in the bucket, so like, I'm hungry. And
by the time you eat,
by the time it's like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, I'm like, yo, wrap this up. We got to go. I'm starving, whatever it may be. I get there, bro. I think it was like me and two other people. It was like $63 for our lunch at this little, and it was just some sandwiches, some macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, and you're in a rich neighborhood.
Yeah, in that little rich white people area over there in Fishhawk or near Fishhawk.
Oh, bro, yeah.
Oh, buddy, they get you over there.
Yeah. No, it's fucking ridiculous over there, man. I have no desire. Like, the house prices over there are retarded. Like, everyone's driving fucking luxury cars to look like they're rich as fuck, and they're not. So it's just,
I pulled in there in my beat up bucket truck with my skid steer, take up 12 spots.
You're driving a house, by the way. That's most people would say that's a cost of. I mean, it is probably the cost of a regular house.
Yeah. I mean, between the whole setup, it's funny because I don't even think about it a lot, but the whole setup is probably close to like $175K.
Yeah.
So like, and that's with nothing inside of it, no chainsaws or anything, just truck, trailer, skid.
Yep.
And then if we have all the attachments, I mean, the claw alone is like $6,500, which is insane, by the way. The first time I bought a skid steer, I think the claw cost me like $3,000, and I bought the heaviest duty one they had. Mm-hmm. That was 3 years ago. So much has changed in those 3 years, especially for industrial equipment. Nothing gets cheaper anymore. Like, I think I sold my first skid steer for the same price I paid for it, and I put like 600 hours on it or something like that. It was insane.
You're on your second skid steer already?
Yeah. So I tend to overdo it a little bit, right? So like my business mindset has always been, I'm not going to buy what's going to get me through this 6 months. I'm going to buy something that I'm going to be able to use for 3 to 5
years,
and I'm not going to outgrow it.
Yeah.
3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And so that has gotten me into a little bit of deep water before, but I've always been able to figure it out. Like, that's got me into like I've jumped off into something that was a little bit more expensive than what I could really afford.
Okay.
But I feel like that's just kind of part of that mindset of like, you're going to figure it out or you're not.
Right.
So, and we figured it out, so it's cool.
Yeah.
But the second skid steer, I bought the first one. It was great. And I could definitely afford that one. That one was one of those ones where it was like, all right, you're good. It does the job, but we kind of beat it up a lot. It broke. I was taking it to the shop, and so I mentioned it as like a joke to my John Deere rep. Hey, maybe we need to get into a bigger one, and he kind of like ran with it. And
of course he did.
Yeah,
he started seeing dollar signs when you said that. Yeah,
yeah, right. And so I ended up selling it and then buying the new one, and great decision by far. Like, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, oh, it's so expensive, and then sometimes I look at it and I was like, I don't ever need another one ever again.
Right. Yeah. Well, so to anybody listening who doesn't know what you do, you own, what's the name of your business? What do you guys do?
I own Boozer's Property Development. We are a property development company out of Central Florida. We, sorry, I didn't mean to suck my teeth right then.
No, you're good, brother. You're good.
We do a lot of property development. Is like this umbrella where you buy 2.5 acres, and there's a creek running through it that's stopped up and it needs to be fenced and the ground needs to be leveled, trees need to be taken out. We can come in and handle all of it. So you don't have to pay 5 separate contractors to do this job. You can come in and pay one contractor, deal with me. You know that we're level-headed. You know my crew. So you can come in. Even if I'm not there, everybody's very personable. So that's kind of where I've locked into making my bread and butter is like we do tree removals, crushed asphalt driveways and culverts, fencing, demolitions, grading, leveling. I mean, it's gone into so much. And we were just talking about it outside. The guy with the roof, he wants a new roof put on, and it's like we've never even thought about being a roofing company. But I mean, anything's possible. And
it's not like a house roof; it's a pole barn.
Yeah, it's a pole barn. Yeah, it's
so,
it's like a 30 by 30 pole barn. So it's literally just like pull
you
some metal off, put some wood down, put it back. It's very simple. And I've built porches and pole barns and several things like that. But
you're just doing it to keep the rain off of you. It's not like a fucking house roof where it needs to be inspected.
But
exactly.
Exactly. And I told him that I was like, look, we're not a roofing company. I would love to refer you to a real roofing company. And he was like, the 5 that I've talked to have all told me no, that they don't want to touch it. And it's like, okay, well, let me come look at it, because this guy's a really good customer, and I've been doing his trees and cleaning up his property for probably 4 years now. Nice. So I always try to, if they're a good customer and they understand, and I've already told them that like, hey, we don't specialize in it, but I know that we could probably figure something out, then it's one of those things where I am all for it.
Yeah. So you're technically in like one of the most dangerous jobs, cutting down trees.
Logging is the number one dangerous job in the world, not even in the nation or anything like that. Logging is the A lot of people don't realize that. That's funny. It's you that that little factoid.
So the reason I know that, well, besides just the statistic of it, insurance for most, that's like the majority of the cost that's built into the cost of like what people charge to cut down trees is because the insurance for those companies are so fucking expensive, because the likelihood something bad happens is very high because it's the number one most dangerous job. But like I think about it, so I do jiu-jitsu, and I'm sure people tired of me talking about it, but like wrestling is a part of jiu-jitsu, right? Like there's a portion of it that's wrestling, but wrestling is one of the most dangerous martial arts because it's falling weight. Same thing with trees, it's falling weight. And so, shit falls in directions that you might not anticipate, or you can only be within like 80 to 90% certainty on what direction something's really going to fall. So like, and especially with trees, when you cut something that's heavy, it's like, you might think it's heavier at the base when really it's, it's going to fall a little bit more than you thought it was going to be. And people just get in the way. And I mean, dude, having a bucket truck is probably the fucking game maker on that, because not having a bucket truck and doing that off of like ladders and shit, like I've seen all kinds of videos. My Instagram has got a crazy algorithm of just really bad tree trimmers, like where the fucking tree falls on somebody's house, or it hits the ladder and fucking knocks the dude off of it.
You sent me that video.
Did I?
Yeah, there was a guy on a ladder, like 2 ladders, and there was a homeowner like trying to bring her something, and the tree limb fell and the saw fell and hit the homeowner.
Yeah, and he's like dangling. Yeah. There's a lot of those videos.
Yeah,
so like
bad.
It makes your job super dangerous, but that's also why you guys can charge more. That's also why it's like, it's a scary job.
The problem in Florida, if they don't know that, that's where we are. Sorry,
Central Florida.
Spoiler alert.
Yep.
The problem in Florida is that tree services have such a negative connotation with being a tree service because of so many meth heads. Because as you said, there are 15 other guys behind me with no insurance. They need an 8-ball to get whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they will do the job. They will do the same job that I want to charge $2,500 for $700.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. Like I can't. $2,500. It's not even. And for anybody listening, I'll break it down for you. Like, off of $2,500, insurance goes into it, employee payment, workers' compensation, fuel, time,
equipment, cost,
use on equipment, breaking stuff down, dump fees. I mean, it's you hear $2,500, and a lot of people freak out until I break it down for them. And I'm like, I'm not making $2,500. I'm lucky. I pay myself like $350 to $500 per day, depending on what the job can afford, right? And I'm very fair. And like if I got a soft spot for, little old ladies and all that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if there's a little old lady and like we can afford to do it a little bit cheaper and she's I can see that she's not doing the best. Obviously, I'm going to do whatever I can. I'm not an absolute piece of shit. But I just can't. That's the problem that you got to get around in Florida is. And people are really smart.
You can always find a crackhead to do it for $500.
I tell them that all the time. Every customer I go to, if they're like, "Oh, the price is too much," I'm like, "Look, I got a phone number to a guy. He's probably he's probably gonna rip one of those Rose Bowl things before he comes out here and talks to you, full of a meth rock.
You're gonna be uncomfortable speaking to this person.
Yeah. He's gonna be uncomfortably close to you with his just eyes." And everything you say, he's gonna be like,
And he's gonna pull up in a truck that's real weird, and it's just they're not gonna get quality. It's like, what do you want?
Trash bag doors, one of the trash bag windows.
You get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for, bro. And that's what I tell them. I tell them all the time. I'm like, look, you want me to show up here with, $250,000 worth of equipment? And you want me to do it for $850? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Let's be realistic. Like, but I tell them, like, hey, if you want the phone number of a guy that's going to do it cheaper, I got you. I love supporting my homies. And
because you're gonna pay them, and then you're gonna see what you get with that, and then you're like, I wish I would have paid more.
I wish I would have called. I wish I would have just not acted that way. Like, I wish I would have just understood that when the guy broke it down to me, that him making $800 off of this $800 profit off of this $2,500 job, and if you're only making $800 off a $2,500 job, you're doing terrible.
Yeah. You got your expenses are too high.
Yeah, I'm just throwing random numbers. You know what I'm saying? If me making $1,000 off of it is crazy to you, like, well, I mean, how much money do you think I have in this?
Right.
Because you own a $300,000 house. Well, I got a bucket truck and a skid steer and a dump trailer.
Yeah.
There's my $300K. So there's a little bit of a difference here. But yeah, the meth head situation is out of hand.
With people cutting down trees, yeah. And it's like, do you really want that liability too of like, this dude died on your property or fucking got severely injured because he was high as a kite and stuff? And have you seen the TikTok like audio that was going crazy about like it was like, my cost to do this is my cost to do this, and if you want me to not do it, you're like, I forget what the exact thing was. It was a big like TikTok audio. It's like, my fee to do it is this fee. If you want me to like reduce the price, the price is $0 because I'm not doing it. It's this or that. It's like, I either do it or I don't do it. There's no like line in the middle.
So we joked about it earlier. I went to college for a year, right? And I was in business management.
Shocker to everybody that knows you.
To anybody that's ever going to see this, that's been my friend. Shocker.
Cold Boozer? College? I've never have associated those words.
No, absolutely not. You never will. I will never. It's terrible for anybody that's ever thought about it. Just skip it. It's just, if you're
it's a fucking scam.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
As somebody who went to college too, it's a fucking scam.
I mean, I went for a year and I met some of the dumbest people I've ever met in my life. Some of them were my professors. Like, I've met, and I mean,
it literally was high school that I paid for. That's what I tell everybody.
The first 2 years of college is absolute bullshit. You're just doing math and science that you did your senior year. And if for people that are I feel like a lot of kids, especially, younger guys, we get bored. And so like when we were in high school, those classes where it's like so simple, like for me, math, science, and history came so easy. I liked all of it. So like when I'm going to college and now I'm repeating the last 2 years of what I did in high school, it's just like, I'm not doing this. This is terrible. I'd rather just be at work.
Bro, so I only have my associate's degree. And to piggyback off what you just said, like I literally was like getting my associate's degree and I was like, why the fuck am I doing this? I'm going into unbankruptable debt, meaning that like if I,
yes,
I was like several things. My wife went to college and completely for free.
because like she did dual enrollment, so she was doing college classes for free,
Super
and I was,
smart.
which I didn't even know existed.
Me
They
either.
didn't fucking tell us about that. So I was taking AP classes where the only way you'd get the college credit is if you passed the exam. I never passed any of the exams, but I would get A's in the classes.
Yeah.
And then like I didn't realize you could even do dual enrollment, which so she did dual enrollment. She did I think 1 or 2 semesters outside of high school, and it was and she had a scholarship, I believe, and it was completely paid for.
Yeah.
So like I didn't do that. I went to college, and I thought the normal thing was to take out student loans. I didn't know what the fuck a loan was. I was just turned 18. So I didn't even know what a fucking loan was. I didn't even know it was unbankruptable. I didn't know what a fucking bankruptcy was.
Yeah.
You know what I
They
mean?
don't teach you none of that
Bro,
shit. They
so-
don't want you to know any of it though. That's their American dream. We're gonna sign these kids up,
Saddle them up.
100K in debt. They're gonna have to pay it off over the next 25 years.
Yep. And,
they don't-
and even if they file bankruptcy, it doesn't go
it
away.
doesn't go away.
Yep. So I was like, now I'm in debt, unbankruptable debt, and all I did was go to college. I paid somebody for 2 years of high school, and I was like, and I already thought high school was bullshit, and I was like, I was literally like, I did a business. The way I explained it is, I got my business admin degree, which is just like a fucking standard run of the mill degree, and I literally took 2 business classes.
Yeah.
Like a total of like, I went to school for 5 semesters. Well, 4 full-time semesters, which is 2 years, and then I went for 1 part-time semester to finish it, all my credits. And I literally took 2 business classes each semester. That was like 5 classes. Like I literally was like, why the fuck am I doing this? And I was like, oh, I'm doing it for the piece of paper I get at the end. And I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck I want to do. I stopped going.
My favorite thing about the piece of paper at the end thing. Sorry,
No, you're good,
I keep
brother.
sitting back away from this thing.
You're good.
My favorite thing about that is that nobody, not one single time that I've ever applied for a job has been like, you graduated high school, we need proof.
Right. You can, bro.
Like, think of, you know what I mean? Like, because like obviously I have it, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
like it doesn't matter,
Right.
but like,
I couldn't tell you where mine's at right now.
oh, bro, my mom. For sure. It's at my mom's house. For sure. It's for sure with my mom. Because I would have just as soon burned it. I wasn't going to walk.
No.
I don't care. That's not for me. I did it.
For high school?
Yeah, in high school. I wasn't going to walk in high school. What do I look like?
Yeah.
This is high school. This is dumb. My mom forced me, which I'm glad I did. You know, you get pictures and blah, blah. We sit there. They didn't let us throw our hats because, shout out Dave Brown.
Bro, yeah, right? Literally. I forgot that we didn't get to do that.
You think
I
that
fucking blocked that memory out in my mind for some reason.
we didn't get to do it? I know. It's super lame.
Well, just the graduation in general.
Yeah, it
don't
was
know
kind
why.
of boring. It's
You're
probably,
just fucking sitting there. You tone everything. I don't know about you, but like you said, I can't sit still just the same way as
yeah.
you. So I'm just sitting there just fucking thinking about dumb shit in my mind. What?
me and Cade were drunk. Spoiler alert, if you were at our graduation, class of 2015, Strawberry Crest.
Shout out, Cade.
Cade Taylor. We were
Ooh, I wasn't going to say the last name, so that's on
hammered.
Cole.
I'll say your middle name.
Date of birth is social, dog. Just kidding.
No, that's my cousin, so we were good. But yeah, we were we were lit. I mean, we were bad kids. We were so bad. But it was such a lame experience. And like, honestly, it's funny, but looking back on it now, we were such bad kids. We did so much stuff that was just,
Yeah.
like that's like when they broke into the school. Remember when all of them kids broke into the school to hang out? It's like, we don't want to be here during the
No.
regular day. Why are y'all breaking in on the weekend?
Yeah,
bro?
we
We will not mention their names, even though I could.
I don't know who it was.
I know all of them.
Probably, yeah. And like the person, what was it? The people who walked cows up the stairs or whatever, or
That
pigs or
is
whatever.
Absolutely the funniest thing you can ever do.
The most redneck. That's a redneck high school thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like that. So they they named our school Strawberry Crest, which is literally just hilarious. We were named after a fucking fruit, and because that's the #1 crop of our town, and then the
Winter strawberry capital of the world.
literally, and they walked cows because cows will go upstairs, they won't go down them.
Fun fact, if you are not a hillbilly, you would not know that.
Yeah, exactly. Cows will go up the stairs. You can lead them up the stairs just fine, but they will not go down the stairs. So didn't they have to put the cows on the fucking elevator?
One by one, because it's only like a 2,000-pound weight limit.
Yeah.
And if you've ever tried to wrestle a cow before, especially one that's a little bit stressed out,
one that's like, shit, I'm stuck here forever.
forever.
Yeah,
And-
it doesn't know what elevators
Yeah.
are.
Like, they have no idea. Like, imagine trying to wrestle the most stubborn, aggressive animal into something that's like, no, we're not doing it.
That's also scared because it's like, oh, I live on the second floor now.
Yeah.
There's no
this
grass
is my
here.
home. What are you trying to do?
That's a funny ass prank.
I think the funniest. I think that Strawberry Crest. Shout out Dave Brown again. He was a great guy. He
Calling him out by name.
Last
I'm not
name.
bleeping that either.
I don't care.
That. He doesn't.
He's
He doesn't
fine.
work
He's
there anymore.
retired. He's retired.
Is he?
Yeah, he quit after the. This is gonna get canceled. After the Spirit Day class of I want to say it was the beginning of 2015 when the two dudes came in dresses and high heels. I think Dave Brown was like, "Yeah, we can't fucking do this."
I didn't even know that happened.
Brother.
I know that
That was the beginning of the tranny trend.
I just know that in 2013 that somebody put a fucking John boat in the lake that was right on in the high school.
Yeah,
And
on the by I-4.
Yeah. By the biggest, one of the biggest interstates in Florida.
Yeah.
And put blow up dolls and dildos in it.
That was
and
so
then they
great.
named the blow up dolls our AP at the time.
Like I said, we did a lot of bad stuff. I had no part in that. I didn't do any pranks. That
And then what's crazy is like that was such a good one. And then the next year they put like forks in the ground.
Yeah, so look, I was about to bring that up. The funniest part of that is like if you don't understand the way senior pranks work, right? If they're mean and they like cause problems for the staff, it's not cool. It's not funny, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They put rubber bands and forks on the field.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know you can't sweep up rubber bands. You have to pick them up by hand or like with a rake or something.
Yeah.
So like when you go out there, you can't like you couldn't put rubber bands on this table and like sweep them up. They would just ball up.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
So like that's why it was kind of funny because like it wasn't vicious in any way. It was just like time consuming. And I remember Dave Brown. It was so funny because all of 2015 was just on gang shit. He was like, he made the announcement was like, you have to, whoever did this, clean it up, no repercussions, or you lose your senior privileges. We were like, fuck the senior privileges. Clean that shit up. It was so bad.
They put tape everywhere too, and it was like, the fuck are we doing here?
I remember Mackenzie was our class president, and she used to fight with us so much. Like, guys, we can't just not have senior privileges, and we were like, fuck it, take them, take
Ride
those
or die,
privileges,
bitches.
shovel. We don't need 5 minutes out early. We're just gonna be 5 minutes late anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fucking bro. High school. I forget about a lot of that stuff too. Senior pranks, man. I don't know if I had anything to do with it. I don't even know what our senior prank was that year.
It was probably something lame.
Yeah,
It was probably.
to me, after you fucking put a John boat with dildos and
How do
blow up
you
dolls,
live? Yeah.
I don't think you top that.
How do you? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the year after that, like all the staff was like super fucking like cautious. They're like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Well, I think that the John boat year. So the cow year was before that. The cows and whatever.
2012, I believe. Yeah.
That was a great class.
That's hilarious. That's such a good prank.
And then the John boat was the next class, and then I think the rubber bands and the forks were the class before ours. And then 2015, there was a nice little select group of us that were not fucking wieners, and the rest of us were just like, we don't want to get in trouble. So,
I'm the wieners group.
I mean,
I just didn't give a shit, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, I mean, I had problems back then. It was a whole different time. But for anyone that knew me, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I don't know. I just never really like. What was the point of pranking the school? In my mind, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong, I get it. You know, whatever. If it's funny, it's funny.
Right.
I'm with that. Like,
we grew up. We were like that last generation of like grew up with Comedy Central and South Park and shit. Yeah.
I remember the comedy tour, the Bill Engvall, Ron White.
Yeah. Fuck. I literally just had it in my mind. Blue Collar Comedy Tour.
Yeah, with Larry the Cable Guy.
Bro, I watched that at my grandma's house.
Bro, what?
Best.
I remember when Ron White came out, and I was like, "Holy shit! You can say stuff like this."
Yeah,
and
bro.
He did, and he still does.
Bro, I still to this day say they like if someone's driving really slow, I still say they were traveling at the speed of smell because it's one of the funniest fucking lines I've ever heard. Like this dude's driving the fucking speed of smell because it's that's
great.
fucking funny.
I think that he's like definitely. They all opened up a wave of like ability for like these stand-up comics and stuff.
Bro, they're all fucking rednecks. That's what I love about it. The Blue Collar Comedy Tours. They're all fucking we grew up in bumfuck. Plant City was nothing. I mean, it's becoming something crazy.
Still nothing. No.
Well, you say that, but there's $500,000. Our regular house is $500,000 now.
That's Joe Biden's economy.
Yeah, yeah. That's a whole other conversation. But like, we grew up in bumfuck nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the Circle K is the meeting spot. You know what I mean? Like the gas station. If a gas station is the closest thing to you, you know what I mean? Like, if there's not a grocery store, you're just a redneck, you know what I mean? And like,
Publix is 30 minutes plus.
Exactly. Like, to go to a grocery store, it's a fucking event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like, so for us, it's like, you see these rednecks and you're like, these dudes fucking made it. They're worth millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Like, that was when Duck Dynasty became a thing, and you're like, wow, rednecks can be rich? What the fuck? Like, they're rednecks because they were poor.
Yeah. And but I mean, that's really the term of being a redneck, is you just don't have enough money to pay anybody to do the shit that you need to do, so you got to figure out how to do it.
Or you either don't do it, or you do it your fucking self.
Yep. That's so funny.
Because what we were talking about outside was with your tree business. It was like, you know, like I was telling you, one of my buddies who, like, they just didn't have the money to pay people to do shit, so they did it themselves.
Yeah.
If you're forced with figuring it out, you fucking figure it out, or you have broke shit.
Yeah.
Like that fucking famous TikTok audio clip that people use where it's like, oh, you're not, or what does it say? Like, you're just not good at being broke or whatever. It's like you have to get some old shit and make it nice shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You've never been broke before, so you just got to buy old shit and you got to fix it.
Exactly.
And they're right. I mean, to be honest with you, the only things that I ever buy that are brand new are for work.
Yep.
And the only reason that I buy stuff for work that's brand new is because it has a warranty. And
you're going to beat the absolute piss out of it.
I'm going to beat the absolute shit out of it.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where, like, the warranty comes in handy, and
Tools.
Downtime's real big. So if I had to pay $3,500 out of pocket to fix something, and then had to have 2 weeks of downtime, Bubba, we're in trouble.
Yeah, that's
money. I
money.
mean, we're not in trouble, but like
time is money, and that's you're fucking losing money. That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of the tools that I buy, they're either tools that don't need to be brand new, and I can buy them used, like hand tools, like for, you know, like fucking vice grips, shit like that.
Yeah.
Or if it's power tools, buy that shit brand new. Unless someone's giving it to you for free, buy that shit brand new, because you get a warranty, and then, like, you know, depending upon the brand you buy, the likelihood something's going to break on it. I mean, you know, they run all kinds of deals, but
I've always felt that if you buy something used, you are just purchasing a problem that someone else doesn't want to deal with.
Depending,
Well, not everything, but like when it comes to like heavy equipment, like if someone's like there, and don't get me wrong, there's always that ray of sunshine where like maybe you are just getting a fantastic deal, and this guy just made money and he wants to get rid of it because it's taking up space in his yard, or
those are very rare,
right? And so
like those old man shit, you know what I mean? When you buy old man shit that's been like taken care of
meticulously. Just never.
You never meet somebody our age who's meticulously selling. Yeah. Oh, this skid steer's in great shape. No, motherfucker, I beat the piss out of this.
And you know what's crazy is I told the guy. I told him, like, look, it's got 600 hours on it. Like, it was my first machine. Like it, but 600 hours on a skid steer.
I found the limit on the skid steer.
600. Oh, bro, we found the limit many times on every machine I've ever had has been tested to the limits the first 30 days. Because the first 30 days, anything you break is absolutely free.
Right.
It's under warranty. Right. But warranty comes with clauses. So
Which you find out
quick. The first day that I had the skid steer, funny enough, the big one, I have a John Deere 333 compact track loader. It is, I want to say it's a little over 13,000 pounds dry weight. So it's a big fucking machine.
I didn't realize it was that fucking heavy.
They're big. It's the second biggest one. It's been the biggest machine John Deere makes. They came out this year, 2024, with a 335. Not good for me because I like new shit, and no. But I have a fairly large skid steer, and it just destroys everything. It's not a
13,000 pounds on dirt is a lot of fucking weight.
Yeah, you got to be good at what you're doing, or you're gonna tear everything. You're just gonna tear the yard up.
Yeah,
and that's a
because you're on tracks too, right? Instead of tires.
Yeah. Well, so I went with tracks because of tires, because of the ground pressure situation. So tracks are wider and they're solid, so the ground pressure for 13,000 pounds is spread out lot more
evenly.
Yeah,
tires, you have less ground touching. You have just what of the part of the tire that's touching.
Yep.
Tracks, you have like fucking 10
Everything.
feet of track touching and spreading that weight.
So if you're good with the tracks, if you're like, and I would like to think that I'm fairly good at what I do because I'm in it every day, right? So if you're good at it, tracks and tires can be very, very similar, like to not messing up the ground. But the minute that you stop caring or the second that you make a oopsies, that grass is gone.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
Yeah.
destroyed.
Yep. Especially people in these nice, like, highfalutin neighborhoods who have, like, they have sod brought in.
I really just bring it there for show.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't drive it off the concrete. If
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
in those neighborhoods, like there's a, we'll throw a random one out there, Fishhawk Ranch. I mean, if we're in one of those neighborhoods, it just goes for show. Like, don't get me wrong, it loads, but like I'm gonna drive it on your driveway, and then I'm gonna put the tree to like everything else.
You have to even be cautious at 13,000 pounds. You need to be cautious of the driveway at that point.
And that's one of the reasons why I went with tracks over tires, because if I drive straight in, the ground pressure really is not enough to even crack sidewalks. I mean, it is if you decide
If you go on the edge.
If I catch the corner of it and like I like move real funny, or like if I'm driving really fast. So that's the problem with concrete is like if you go to drive over it and you go fast over it and you immediately apply pressure, it's going to snap. But like if you go slow and you allow it to take that pressure as you go over and then back off, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
So it really all just boils down to not being a fucking idiot and not doing meth. That's really what if you've had a bad experience with a tree service, 9 times out of 10, I would like to say that you have had a tree service with meth head in charge or some sort of I don't know, drugs.
Yeah. Some person who you get people that give a shit and don't give a shit. That's really what it boils to. And the reasons for giving shit and not giving shit can be different, but it just is what it is.
Most people, it's funny enough, they're gonna hate me for this. Most homeowners have absolutely no idea what they actually want. You walk into a yard and it's bad because like I didn't realize that was going to be part of my deal with being like the owner, the person that does the estimates, invoicing, payments, blah blah blah, right? And so that's part of my biggest problem is figuring out what the fuck y'all actually want,
right? Because
you come to me and you're like, I want the tree cut down. And I'm like, okay, cool, we'll cut the tree down. But what happens when the tree's cut down? We grind the stump, and now all of a sudden your electric bill's $350 a month because there's no shade on your house.
Yeah.
Like what happens when the hammock that you have out back that you and your kids really enjoy using because of the shade, now there's no shade. Hammock's gone. What are we going to do then? And then like people don't think about it and they get upset, and it's like, and those are just little bullshit things. Like, I think off the top of my head that we've done recently where I've pointed it out to people like, hey, what are you going to do about this? And then they'll be like, oh, well, maybe we don't take the whole thing down. And it's like, okay. Because once we take it down, there's no putting it back up. I don't have no wood glue in the truck. I can't stick a tree branch back together with wood glue. Once I cut it, it's cut. That's my favorite.
Think about it twice and cut once.
Yeah, that's my favorite line to tell people. I don't got no wood glue in the truck.
Yeah.
And normally they have your reaction. They're like, what?
Well, you didn't realize that as a business owner, you become the salesperson too.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, so many people don't know what they want because think about it, like what we were talking about earlier, like there's this cycle of life of what's normal for people. They get out of high school, they don't fucking know anything about college, but their grandparents and their parents are hounding them that they have to go. Mm-hmm. They go to college, they get $100,000 in debt for some degree that pays $50,000 a year. And then while they're getting that degree, they find the love of their lives. They want to get married. They have the typical wedding that costs fucking $50,000. Now they're $150,000 into debt. They go, oh well, this old beater high school vehicle I have ain't gonna cut it no more. They go fucking another $50,000 into debt collectively. So now they're married, and if the other person brings in debt, you could easily be saddled up to $200,000 to $300,000 worth of debt right out of high school, or right out of college rather, and you're making fucking $50,000 to $75,000 a year, and then they buy the typical American house for what used to be $300,000, but now it's $400,000. Yeah. Now it's $400,000 or $500,000. They buy a modest, what you would consider a modest home, and now they're fucking let's call it just comfortably $500,000 in debt, and they're so focused on their career and then to do anything that they love, because they now all of a sudden they realize they hate their fucking job that they went because they were just trying to make their parents happy. They're $500,000 in debt, they're miserable, and this fucking tree just bothers the piss out of them, and they call some redneck up who just is like, yeah, when I was 25, I started a tree company and blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? And you show up with a fucking house of equipment,
House on wheels.
yeah, and you tell them it's $2,500, and they're already up to their tits in fucking credit card debt to just enjoy their miserable lives. You know what I mean? Like, all that shit adds up, and then they're just sitting there and they're like, oh, and now the shade's gone.
Yeah.
My one piece of happiness was sitting in that fucking hammock,
Yeah,
and now my
and now
shade's
it's
gone.
gone.
Yeah, and you have to be a salesperson and be like, you know, you guys don't think about tree stuff at all until you call me and you go, I want this tree gone. And in your mind, all you want is that tree gone. I have to explain all of the things that I know about, and it's just different. So
That's
you're an
like
expert. You're an expert. And to them, they're
so
just
funny.
like, this tree's in my way.
Yeah, it's so funny too, because like I started the company. Oh hell, I'm old now. I'm just turned 27, so I think I started the company 5 or 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago.
What made you start the company?
Bro, honestly, I was in a very bad place. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and and you get this because you're you're a man. As young men, we don't really get value until we're almost 30 years old, and so true value, like I can do whatever I want. Most adult males really don't get to that point until they're in their late 20s, early 30s.
At the soonest.
At the earliest, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying.
If you hit it in your mid-20s, you're ab fucking normal.
Well, I mean, and so I hit 21, and I was like, okay, cool, I can drink. You know, that's how every young adult male, 21 years old. So then 23 came around. Sorry, my bad.
No, you're good, brother. I'm just moving a
messing
little bit
up.
closer.
Yeah,
You're
you're
good,
good.
brother.
Sorry. I moved it because I could hear myself breathing. And I didn't know.
You'll notice I breathe down
Yeah.
instead of into the mic.
At 23, I was like, okay, you're doing nothing. Like, you're doing the same thing you've been doing since you were 18. And that's a really hard thing. Like, that's something that, like, if you're a young adult man and you've ever had that talk with yourself in the mirror, you know it's a bad place to be. I was like, I got to do something. And I started working with a couple of other people. Then one of my friends, I like to say that I worked with several very good business owners, and I worked with several very not so great business owners. I don't want to say bad, but not so great. I don't agree with their style. So I started working for those people, and I worked for the worst people, the not so great people first. Found out the not so great way to do things, and then I started working for the better people and found out some better ways. And so that kind of led into me being like, well, I can do this. Like, this is something, as I said previously, I did do a year of college, didn't do me any good. But so I thought, like, okay, you know, obviously I can file for an LLC and we can do this and blah, 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 and insurance. And I had a Polaris Razor 1000.
Side by side.
A side-by-side, yeah. Very nice. It actually, 6 years ago, it popped up on my memories this morning. I sold it and basically took everything that I had and was like, okay, we're going to do this. And I think my grandma bought me my first chainsaw. You know what I mean? Like, just little stuff like that. And back then, it didn't seem like anything crazy, but it turned into something much larger. I started doing things on my own because I was tired of seeing people take advantage of people and do things to what I would say were wrong. Right? So, like, if you go in and you know that you can charge someone less, but you charge them more for no reason, I think that it's a little bit wrong. Am I saying that some people, like, the job itself isn't the only thing that goes into it, right? So, like, you do the job and the homeowner's really, really hard to deal with. You obviously charge more for it. But if it's an easy job and you're charging more for it and you're doing it because you know that they're going to pay it and it has to happen, you're just taking advantage of people. And, like, that's what I was trying to get away from, and that's why I started the company in itself. And that's always kind of been my thing, is like, I would like to help people as much as possible, because trees are dangerous. When they fall, they're bad. They cause havoc and hell, really. So that's kind of why I started, was just like, I didn't want to work for anybody else. And I saw a lot of business owners taking advantage of people, especially in the tree care industry.
And you were like, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah. If they can do it, I can do it. That's always kind of been my thing. My grandpa is a very smart man. He owned and operated several McDonald's. I'm not sure how many, but he owned and operated several McDonald's, and he kind of planted a seed in my mind, was because he didn't go to college either. He started out as a fry cook. But that was back then when you could do that.
Right.
And so, I mean, I'm sure I don't want to say back then when you could do it. I'm sure you could still do it now.
It's more normalized now.
Yeah.
It was not a normal thing back then.
It was not a normal thing back then. And he I called him one day and was like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. And he was like, well, the only thing you can do is just do it. The only thing you can do, like, you're either you're going to sit there and you're going to think about it, and you're going to
think yourself out of doing it.
Yeah. Or you're going to sit there and you're going to be doing the same thing that you've been fucking doing, and you're not going to have anything to show for it. And that kind of stuck with me a little bit. And then it's funny, I think my business method, you mentioned that most people don't really catch traction until at earliest their 30s, if they're lucky. Everyone always told me from the very beginning, it's going to take you 10 years. It's going to take you 10 years. It's going to take you 10, 15 years to build up a clientele. It's going to, the first 5 to 10 years are hell. And I was like, okay, cool. So like, it's taking you guys 10 years to do it. Well, I'm going to do it in 5. And everyone always laughed at me. But there's a great saying, oh God, I'm going to mess it up. I think it was said by Elon Musk. If you just accept that it's going to take you 10 years, it'll take you 10 years. Yep. But if you try to do it in 5, you're going to fail. But you're going to be way farther along than the motherfucker that's accepted that it was going to take 10 years. Yep. So that's kind of, and that might sound crazy to some people, but I've failed so many times. But every failure has always been like, well, we're farther along than...
Right. You're pushing a pace that is not sustainable for a reason, because you're trying to get further. It's like, that was an Elon Musk quote, and basically what he was saying is like, if you give yourself 8 hours to clean your house, it'll take you 8 hours to clean your house. If you give yourself an hour, it's gonna get done in a fucking hour. Yeah. You might be 80% of the way there in that hour, but you're fucking farther than you would have been if you gave yourself 8 hours to do it.
And that's always been my concept on it. It's like, what can I do in 12 months? Like, when you get into that headspace of like, all right, I'm not worried about this 30 days. I'm worried about the next 30 days. So in February or in January, I'm worried about what the fuck we're doing in February. Once you get into that point where you're living in the future, things kind of start to be like, oh, you really have to budget. You really have to do this. You really have to do that to make it work. And I don't know. I never thought being a business owner was going to be so hectic. I mean, I got a couple gray hairs. I don't know if y'all can see it from that far away, but I got 5 or 6 gray hairs now in my beard, and I blame them all on business. Yeah, just stress. Yeah, day-to-day bullshit.
You give a shit. I mean, you just give a shit more when you own it yourself.
Yeah, we have more in it. The stakes higher.
It's like buying a home versus renting a home. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you rent a house, you give less of a shit about it than if you own it. If you own it, you fucking take care of it.
You ain't pouring grease down the drain,
right?
If you own it.
Yeah, that's a fucking accurate. That's the metaphor in and of itself. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you, yeah. It's so funny too, because I've seen so many kids on. I don't have a TikTok because I just never got sucked into it.
Us rednecks are scared to get a TikTok because it's from China. Same way, dude. I don't have a TikTok and I'm scared to ever go on there.
I just see everybody get so sucked into it, and it's funny because my girlfriend, she has like 40,000 people that follow her on TikTok. I'm like, how does that even happen? Like, I don't, and it's not like, don't get me wrong, I know how it happens. I understand the algorithms and blah, 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 blah. I'm not just some fucking hick. Okay, I understand how it happens. It's not what I'm, but like, 40,000 people follow you? 40,000 people care about what you got going on? I don't care about what more than 15 people got going on. I got 15 people in my life that I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah. That got in.
15's a stretch, too.
I'm telling you. I'm being real nice right now. 15, you're being very nice. I'm over in the numbers right now. Because really, I could name off like 5. That like, what they do day to day matters to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so.
And 5 is, I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like this is funny. I feel like when you're given more in life that you're responsible for more, right? 100%. So like me being in the place that I'm at, I feel as if it's my responsibility because I'm here to try to bring other people to that spot, or to try to make sure that they're good, or to try to, you know, just be there. Because, I mean, in guys, we really don't have a lot of people to talk to. So, like, bro, I was going through it the other day. My main employee, like, messed up his knee. I couldn't find anybody to work for me, and I had to do these tree jobs. Like, I was broke. I mean, not broke, but I just was dipping into savings, and I don't like doing that. And so I was doing them by myself. I removed, like, 15 trees alone in a week. And one of my friends, we're actually going to his birthday dinner later on tonight. He called me after work. It was like 2 o'clock. And he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm up in the bucket truck right now." And a couple other terms. I was cussing and yelling. And he was like, "All right, I'm going to pull up on you. I got your location." And I was like, "No, it's fine. I'm just going to go home." And he was like, "Nah, just stay there until I get there. I'm going to pull up on you." And I was like, "Okay." And I didn't know how much it mattered at the time, but I was ready to quit. And it doesn't happen very often, right? Like, right. But every now and then everything just kind of gets to you, and you're like, "Fuck it, I'm going home. I want to go. I want to go lay in my bed. I'm by myself. This is dangerous as fuck. There's no reason why I should be here alone." Like, and so he's like, "No, just stay there. I'll pull up on you." And so he, 30 minutes later, well, I told myself when we hung up the phone, I'm going to do everything I can until he gets here. And once he gets here, I'm leaving. We can sit here and bullshit, whatever. Well, he got there, and he was like, "So you going to finish this tree or what?" He's like, "I know you can finish a tree." And that is just like, and I did. I finished cutting it down. But that's the importance of having, other strong men or other strong-willed men around you, because I didn't know it mattered. But him coming over there and being like, "Just do whatever, just stay there until I get there," kind of made me be like, "All right, cool. Yeah. I'm not alone in this." And I was able to kind of like get out of my own headspace and get into that, like figure it out. And then it's very odd.
Yeah.
Being a business owner, because you feel alone so much. And then some people come through for you like he did. And it means so much. And like he knows it. Or at least I think he knows it.
Right.
But that it means if you have a business owner friend and you feel like they're stressed, just call them one day. Call them one day and be like, "Hey, bro, you want to get a beer? Like, hey, I'll come over and hang out with you."
Yeah.
Like, I know you're probably busy right now, but like, I'll come over. And like, me and my friend Jake, we both own businesses. So a lot of times there's no time for like fun or, during season, we're hot and heavy all day long, every day. And a lot of times I'll just pull up over there with my machine, and he's got one similar. And we don't really do anything but just sit there and wash. I'll wash my machine. He'll wash his machine. We'll bullshit talk.
Yeah. You're just both trying to go for the same thing, and it's helpful to be around that same energy. Like, what I've noticed since starting to do the podcast, because my life is fucking busy. Mm-hmm. Like, I just feel like if I get 20 minutes to just sit and do nothing, that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
And like, I'm so busy with all of the things that I do. Like, a lot of times I'll tell myself I'm going to do something new, and my wife is like, "You don't have time as it is. Like, what are you fucking talking about?" I don't know, man. Like, being around people who are, like, taking care of their own shit. Like, there's so many people, going back to that normal situation, they're just so inundated with their own life that it's hard for them to pour into other people.
Yeah. Because
they're so, like, they haven't mastered themselves yet. I read a lot. So one of the things I'm trying to do this year is read more. Okay. Because I think that's what successful people do. And 100%. I think that if people who are successful write a book, it's because they know they're going to sell copies of it, and they go, "I will give you this information, quote unquote, for free if you buy the book," kind of thing.
$8.99, it's yours.
Right, exactly.
Forever.
Exactly.
You can give it to your kids.
Exactly. So I read a lot of books on, like, investments, successful people in general. I just like reading about, like one of the next books I want to read is about the guy who founded Walmart. I feel like this motherfucker knows some shit. You know
absolutely.
What I mean? But like, just being around that kind of shit and reading about it, I feel like I'm like, wow, these people, like, they managed a small amount of their life so well that it became bigger and bigger and bigger. And I grew up
I guess a little religious, but
Yeah,
like
same.
one of the things that I like talking about the Bible, it's like to those that can to what is it? What's the phrase like? To those who have little, or to those who have nothing, more will be taken, and to those who have a lot, more will be given, or something along the lines. But basically, what I get at with that is like, if you can't manage a little bit of money, why should you expect to manage a lot of money?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
People don't understand that, though.
I started operating my personal finances like I listen to Dave Ramsey. One of the things he talks about, he's like, you should run your personal finance like it's a business, and you're the fucking accounting department for them. Going, we need to fucking, this is important. And I've just started running my own personal shit like a finance. And when I notice the more I focus on making myself better, the more it's poured out to other people.
Absolutely.
And so, like, too many people, they do the opposite effect. They worry about themselves second, and they try to help others, and it ends up being detrimental to their own success, because next thing you know, their own home is falling apart. And it's like, how can you help other people when you don't have the credibility to do that?
One of the reasons why I decided to try to lose weight was because of that. How can I lead people and not be the best version of myself? And you can't, and like, you can say whatever you want to, but as men, if you look upon another man and he's fat and sloppy and his clothes don't fit and his belly's hanging out over the bottom of a fucking 3XL t-shirt, it's like, bro, get out of my face.
Right.
But if you look at another man, you're like, oh, and we were bigger guys.
Yeah, you found the mark. No, you're good.
Oh,
We were bigger guys.
We were bigger guys in high school. I mean, I was 300 pounds in high school.
I was 285.
Yeah, I was big.
Yeah.
And, but I've always been, I'm almost 6'3" or right at 6'3". So like, I've always been taller, but then I carry the weight well. But if you're fat and sloppy, how do you expect to lead people and they truly respect you? It just doesn't work. And that was kind of, it's funny because you mentioned Dave Ramsey. I disagree with so many things that he says, but he's in a different world than me, right? So like, I'm sure that when you're managing tens of millions of dollars, it's a little different.
Yeah.
But Dave Ramsey, one of his favorite things is no debt. Don't take on debt. Da, 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 da. Well, that probably worked back in the 70s. And don't get me wrong.
It depends. It just depends on which angle you're looking at it from.
One of his favorite things to say is that the guy that is on the job site with the cheapest truck, like the guy with the 2006 Silverado, is making more money than the guy with the 2022 F350. Yes and no. You're right. Is he making more? Yes. But does he have more? Probably not.
Depends.
Is he... You can't... I mean, in the specific industry, like the construction industry, the guy that's driving the '06 Silverado is probably a laborer. Probably. I don't want to say that it's 100% thing, because I know plenty of people that are worth millions of dollars that drive old vehicles, and they just do it. But also the guy that pulled up in a brand new truck, he probably didn't even pay for that truck. It was probably a tax write-off. He probably didn't want it.
Well, in the construction industry, it's different too, because if for instance, if you took like my truck compared to yours, like I drive a 2001 Chevy, right? And you have a 2022, F350, yeah. Like clearly my truck's way cheaper than yours, but it's also like, if I'm putting mine through the same pressure that yours is going through, like it's going to constantly be in and out of the shop. So that's something you have to factor in.
Yep. Downtime.
What Dave Ramsey's talking about is separate of a business, though, especially construction, because construction is like, if you don't have the newest equipment, you're not even competitive. Now, he's talking about more like the average individual, like I've been talking about.
Like I agree and disagree.
I think personally, everyone like that's why I have a 2001 Chevy, is because I refuse to get a truck payment. If my truck payment is $700 a month and it doesn't make me $2,100 a month, why the fuck do I have it?
For anyone that is wondering, I drove a paid off vehicle until last year. I don't just have brand new vehicles.
And you have an F350 though, because like you have to pull a trailer
20,000 pounds every day.
Exactly.
Minimum.
Yeah, exactly. With the skid steer and the flatbed that you put it on, I'm sure it's fucking what? 20,000?
It's 20,000 bare skid and trailer.
Yeah, my truck wouldn't even touch that.
I say the skid with the attachments is right at, I call it 15K. It's less than 15K, but I like to round up just to be safe. Trailer's about 5,000 pounds. It's a little bit less, but we'll call it 20,000 pounds every single day.
Yeah.
So That's why.
Yeah.
You're 100%. I like I said, I agree with a lot of the things that he says.
You're looking at it from a business perspective.
From a different aspect. So, like, he's talking to the average individual, and I would like to think that I'm, like...
He's talking to W-2 employees.
Yep.
You're not a W-2.
No.
I own my own business. I have to fucking... And, like, could you do the same job you do with cheaper equipment? Yes. But there's going to be... The additional stress might not be worth doing it. And I haven't read Dave Ramsey's business principles, but just talking about personal finance, I think personal finance wise, most people would be in a better position, and that's coming from working in the financial field. Like just seeing people, like the closer people live to his like principles, the better.
Yeah.
But when you start getting into am leveraging the debt for this business because yes, my interest rate on this truck is 5%, but I'm making XYZ dollars doing it. So it's a little bit different, especially in construction and land clearing shit like that.
I mean, what it really just boils down to exactly what you said. If you're paying $700 for a truck and you're not making $2,100 a month off of it, why the fuck do you have it?
At least $2,100.
Yeah, why the fuck do you have it?
Exactly.
And so, like, for me, that truck is the truck that I run quotes in. It's the tow truck. It is the go and get parts truck. It is everything. So, I mean, last year I put, I want to say like 39,000 miles on it. And we're a small business. It's not like we're, you know what I mean? We're not Repa or anything like that.
And this isn't like a Toyota Camry. This is a fucking, it's a diesel truck, dually.
6.7 Power Stroke, F350 dually tow pack. It's got it's got bags in the rear for heavy duty towing. Like, I mean, it does.
It's meant to put in fucking work.
It's meant to get 10 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
Tow 32,000 pounds every day. Like, but yeah, I think that a lot of people, what's his name? Someone who's recently caught social media traction. The Justin Waller guy.
Yeah.
He's he's like the steel company guy. Love that guy. I would love to meet him. Love to have a conversation with him.
He's intense.
He reminds me of what I would like to be like. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the things that he says and the way that he carries himself and like the whole like don't get me wrong, every one of these people say things and they're a little eccentric every now and then.
That's also social media trying to highlight the negative aspects.
Yeah, I agree. But Justin Waller is such a down home hillbilly growing up, played football, you know what I mean? Like, and then he made something out of nothing. And it's funny because I watched him. He was like, everybody gets mad at me because my jeans are so tight. My legs are just big. And like, for me, that really stuck with me because that's my problem in life, bro. Like, I don't like, if you look at me in a pair of Wranglers, you're like, why is he wearing skinny jeans? It's not, bro. These are 38, 34s. Like, these are just those are just my thighs and my calves. Like, I love the some of the interviews Justin Waller does because they'll be asking him questions and they'll be like, "Why are you fucking worried about that?"
Yeah.
Like, when's it? Like, why
out of everything you could ask me, why are we talking about?
Why are you worried about like? It's just some bullshit thing, and they're like, "Oh, well, how will I manage to have an employee?" He's like, "Well, do you need employees yet? No. All right. Well, then what the fuck are you talking about?
Exactly.
Like, why are you even?"
Have you? So one of the one of the podcasts I do now is like the book club podcast, where it's Juan and Adrian and I reading a book every month, right? So I told you I wanted to read more. The last book we read was called The 4-Hour Work Week. Bro, great fucking book, dude. And one of the things he talks about is like 80% of your results come from like 20% of your time.
Yep.
And I'm like, when you start thinking about it like that, you're like, what am I doing that is just a time suck right now? When you start thinking like that, like, it's changed what I focus my energy on.
Yep.
And
absolutely,
bro, it's fucking. When you think about it like that point, you're like, what is? Because that also adversely to that means 80% of my time is being used by shit that only gets me 20% of the results. And like I think about like I've been really focused on efficiency with doing things. And like one of the things I consider is like, when it comes to being efficient, I'm like, is this gonna do, like, am I making the best use of my time when I do something? Like when I make clips for the podcast, like I try and like I've started doing, for instance, I used to make one clip at a time, start to finish. Until this clip is done, I don't move to the next one. But then I started thinking, I'm like, that's like, you think about what Henry Ford did. Henry Ford didn't make the first vehicle ever. He was the one who implemented the conveyor belt system or whatever.
He revolutionized the process for
of manufacturing.
Yeah.
So now I batch everything where I'll do 9 clips at one time, but I do the same thing to each individual clip until it's all done on all 9. Then I go back to the first one and move to the next step.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I've made it easier to start shit. And I don't know, bro, it's been the easiest. It's been like a huge difference. Like it used to take me a week to make 5 clips. Now it takes me 3 days to make 9.
Yeah.
Like, if the clips are fucking where I'm getting a lot of my views from, like now I've just made it to where I can make even more, like my production is higher. So like having a bigger production and doing more shit like that, I don't know. It's I don't know. I've just started thinking, how can I be more efficient in everything that I do?
That is something that I have had to wrestle with so heavily as a business owner, is like, what are we doing? Why isn't it going as fast as it? Why is it going slower? Why is it going faster? What's happening? That's one of the reasons why I bought a bucket truck instead of using a climber. It's like, okay, this tree can either take all day, or we can do 2 of these in a day. And like, you don't necessarily always have 2 of them to do in a day, but if we can be off by 1 p.m. instead of being here until 5:30,
Yep.
that makes a world of difference.
Yeah. Especially if you're paying your people hourly.
Yeah, well, they get paid per the day. I pay everybody daily. So
Well, but I'm saying, but if you were.
yeah, if they were to make,
hourly,
if they're making 22 an hour, and you know we only work 4 instead of 8. I mean, bro,
you're saving your money.
Yeah,
you're
you're
saving them time. They could technically have another job.
they could
you
go.
know?
Yeah, they could have another job. They could go home. They could come and do something else for me. They could go do their own thing.
I've just learned as we got older how much time is a fucking commodity.
Yeah, what the years are peeling back so fast. I mean, just it's like that little like animation of a book when the wind hits it. It's just
Yeah,
just
bro. I gotta piss so bad. I can't even fucking hear you right now. I'll be right back. You gotta pee? You good?
I'm good.
All right, cool. There's a bathroom right here if you need it.
All right. God damn. For anyone that doesn't know, there was this much tequila in these cups. Ryan's a madman.
Sorry, bro. I was my sides started to hurt. I was holding that one in for a fucking minute, bro.
You're good.
The more I tried to wait too, because I hate killing the flow of the conversation. The more I wait up, my sides were hurting. I had to piss so bad. All right. So where were we at? Time is a commodity.
Yes, time is a commodity. Learning how to figure out time. Sorry, hold on.
You're good, brother. You're good, brother. You sound like Kamala Harris for a second, bro. You heard that speech where she's like, "There's something about the passage of time." Did you see that?
Fuck. Great.
You're like,
You left, and I was like, for anybody that doesn't know, there's this much tequila in these cups. Whenever.
yeah, it was a hot amount, dude. I'm pretty warm right now.
Oh, brother, that's like I've done pulled my shirt out 3-4 times.
Yeah.
Thought I was gonna start sweating there for a second. My body was like, "Oh, we're doing this early in the morning. All right,
It's breakfast, motherfucker.
I haven't eaten a single thing, just tequila and ginger beer on
That's
my stomach.
all I've had today too. Yeah, 100%. That shit hit like a freight train.
Yeah, that's why I started dropping last names for anybody that's here. 2 shots of tequila in.
Shout out Cade.
Shout out Cade. It's so funny because Cade is a little bit older than me. Cade's actually a I'll tell you later. But he's a baby. He's born on a specific day that we always make fun of him because it's hilarious. Yeah, fuck it. He's a Valentine's Day baby. Fucking Cupid.
Okay.
But so we always make fun of him. And we always like laugh and joke. And he lives right over in between us. Over
Don't say where he lives.
no, I won't.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna say over by my house.
Okay.
And we always joke and laugh because we live right next to each other, but we never get to see each other because of how busy we are. And it's like, how did we become adults so fast? Like, how the name of the pod is so great.
Perfect,
yeah, it's so perfect. Like,
Yeah.
how did we get here? How did this happen? Like, how have we been working for almost 10 years at like towards a specific goal? It's wild to think about.
Yeah, I think about it too, because like I've had this podcast for, I think this year's the 3rd year, which just when I say that, it doesn't feel right. Like I'm like, oh, the math is wrong, but it's pretty fucking correct. And I think about that and I'm like, yo, that's fucking wild. And then like, I'm like, the reason I named the podcast what I did, I went for a run once and I literally was like running around. I was like, geez, I can't believe I'm a fucking grown up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like I pay taxes. Like, I do all this shit. And I'm like, how does it, I feel like I'd go back to high school and I'd fit right in. You know what I mean? And then like, now
Or college. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I could walk on a college campus and like, as long as I have a haircut and I don't look raggedy like I do right now.
Right.
I feel like I could walk on and just, that's where I should be.
Bro, so I literally felt like I felt imposter syndrome.
You remember what we were talking about outside when I was like, we should talk about this inside. COVID took like 4 years of our adolescent lives.
Or as the young adults, yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, young adult, whatever you call it, adolescent, my bad. But they, you know, I say 4. Really, the first 2 years were like lockdown.
Yeah.
The first year, I mean,
you were scared to be around your friends.
yeah. I mean, we couldn't have done this. We could have.
I did. That's when I started it.
Well,
It was 2021.
that's when I think I started the business a year before that, 2019. So
Shit, I guess it was 2020 when I started the podcast. It's been 4 years. Fuck.
yeah, bro, it's crazy to think about. Because I started the business in 2019, it's 2024. That's 5 years. And then we were doing business before that illegally with no insurance for a year. So, like, it's crazy. Like you said, it's crazy we're adults. It's
The
crazy.
progression, bro.
One day that we woke up, graduated high school, and they were like, here you
Yeah,
go.
you're fucking figure it out. Yeah, literally,
Like,
literally go to college.
We didn't teach you a fucking thing, and you can't have anything that you actually want. But
Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the
oh
cell.
my fucking goodness, bro.
A squared, B squared.
We were talking about that the other day. I was like, I feel like the only thing that I really use, and very rarely, is geometry. Cutting down trees and angles and falling and
You know what I never saw in
fulcrum.
fucking high school? A fucking tape measure. You know how fucking
Bro.
often I use a tape measure?
What? You know how many times I have
If I
to
didn't
buy
have a
the
dad-
fucking tape measure that has the little things
That
written
counts
on
it out for you?
because people don't know what they are.
Well, that's because you were in boom boom classes, but whatever.
No, I know it, but the people that work for me are just like, duh,
Bro,
1 and 1, 2, 3 little lines.
Yeah, bro.
Bro,
Not the big one, not the middle one,
yeah,
the little one.
little lines, 5 of them. What are you trying to tell me down there, Pablo?
Bro, the amount of adults that think 10 inches is a foot is retarded, bro. These are so my buddy, you know him. He literally works in a business that requires exact measurements,
Yeah.
and he's had to teach people
yeah.
how many inches are in a foot. Because you'd be like, "This is a 13-foot piece of pipe," and they look at the pipe and they're like, "That's not 13 feet." That looks a little off to me. They run a tape measure to it, and
13
like,
feet,
that's
really?
not.
Because you're about 3.5 feet off, Bubba.
Yeah, literally, you have to teach. You know, just imagine like if you came over and I was like, okay, so here's how a fucking tape measure works.
Yeah.
As crazy as that sounds, that might be one of the most useful tools to this fucking country is a tape measure.
Bro, you have no idea how many kids have walked up onto the job site day one after telling me, and like, bro, you don't have to lie to me. Just tell me what's up because I'm cool. I'm a cool boss. I really am. You know what I'm saying? Just you don't have to bullshit me. If you can look me in my eyes and go, I have no fucking idea what you're talking about,
Bro,
and I'm
being
gonna
honest,
go,
just
okay,
be
cool.
honest.
I'll explain it to you
Right.
because that's what we're here for. You have no idea how many kids have walked onto my job site day one. I've told them, hey, put a new chain on that saw, and walked away. And then they hand me the saw, and it's on backwards.
If it even has a blade on it.
If they can even figure out how to get it off,
Yep.
right? And it's just so funny to me because, like, I've always known, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say that I've never put a chain on backwards. I've been rushed a few times and looked at it and been like, Cole, you're an absolute idiot. Like, oh my God, just slow down and breathe. But
Yep.
if you don't know, just ask. Like,
I just feel
the
like high
tape
school
measure thing. Yeah, high school.
it's a bunch of bullshit, bro.
I learned more in ag class than I did in every other class. And I mean, don't get me wrong, the basics, math, multiplication, blah, 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 blah.
Bro, it almost feels designed though.
Oh,
all
it
those
absolutely
shit in high
is.
school. Because like what was it, John D.
designed to
Rockefeller?
fail.
Well, John D. Rockefeller wanted to make factory workers,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what's. I mean, that's why that's what I've read is why the Bell system is there, and that's why they teach you a bunch of shit. And they like the way I look at it is there's two parts of every adult's life, right? There is their personal life, and then there's their work life, and most of the time, like. Everybody's work life varies so much. Like what you do for work and what I do for work are completely fucking different. In many ways, you know, like you run a fucking. I go out and stand in a bucket truck and saw logs, and I work in finance, right? It's completely fucking different. And have a podcast. I mean, that's fucking weird, right? Comparatively, but in high school, none of the things that I learned in high school translated into those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you taught yourself all this.
I've told my uncle was a principal, and I told him, I was like, I think that the problem with school is they're trying to focus on going, oh, are you going to be a chemist or a fucking da-da-da-da-da? And it's like, why don't we stop focusing on, we're going to teach all these kids a bunch of shit that they might need if they go to college. Why don't we just focus on making them better adults? Let's teach them how to fucking cook, how to clean, how to fucking change their brakes.
Taxes.
How to change their brakes on their fucking vehicle.
Bro.
Just a general maintenance on their vehicle. Let's teach them taxes. Let's teach
Plumbing.
Like, just teach them how to be a fucking good adult.
How to cook.
Bro.
Like culinary, I don't care what anybody has to say. 1 year of culinary should be mandatory.
Bro.
How to use a knife, how to not cut yourself, how to understand, like, okay, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper.
How to cook fucking chicken.
Bro.
With how much chicken we fucking eat as a country, why is that not a major thing?
Bro, you know what's so funny is I absolutely hate chicken, despise it with everything that I have. Like,
Really?
like I love, like, eggs, cool with it. But, like, chicken breast and, like, I would rather eat chicken thighs than chicken breast, right?
Oh,
And
no, I can't do that. I'm the opposite way.
really?
Yeah.
Like chicken breast more?
Yeah.
I think that I would rather just eat red meat.
100%.
I'd rather just eat ground sirloin or ground beef or whatever it may be, something like that. I feel like and that's so funny because my family owned a chicken farm for the longest. So like my family used to sell the chickens to Tyson.
Yeah.
So the little like soups and Campbell's and all that stuff you would get. The chicken that was in there would come from some of our farms.
Yeah.
Very
Cool.
interesting. No, not cool. Terrible. It was
Well, now it is. Yeah. With factory farming and shit. Yeah.
Horribly. Well, I mean, the good thing about places like Campbell's is they truly do their best to buy like small farm raised chickens. They're not
It's changed a lot since.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They
Fucking disgusting.
There's a couple of that's one of the reasons why I fucking hate chicken is because I've been around it for so long. They're disgusting.
They're fucking the only people who eat chicken on a regular basis. Like one of the things, my wife wants chickens, and I told her, I said, unless you can turn it upside down and cut its head off, I don't want chickens.
Yeah.
I was like, you might have to do that, and if you're not willing to do that, like
that's the
I don't know,
problem.
I feel like that's got to be a prerequisite.
Chickens stop laying eggs after so many years. So like after like, especially if it's like a farming thing for the normal everyday person, you probably get 3 years out of a good chicken for laying egg, maybe 5. But after a while, you either got to kill it or you got to eat it because it's just.
Well, in order to eat it, you got to kill it.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, you either got to kill it and bury it because you know, it's your pet, or you got to kill it and eat it because you got to replace it so that way you can have eggs, or you're just going to keep on feeding
Or you have this
chicken.
fucking freeloader over here. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know.
It becomes a pet after it no longer produces eggs.
After I got into like, the thing about school is so correct that they teach you absolutely nothing. They don't teach you how to diet. They don't teach you what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat. They don't teach you how to cook. They don't teach changing your car tire. Could you imagine if we weren't just redneck? Like if we didn't just grow up in a time where our families were like, no, we got to figure this out.
Yeah.
Bro, if I blew a tire on the side of the road, how would I change it?
Call
What would I
AAA.
do?
You call AAA.
Yeah.
you pay for you pay for a service of a redneck.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's crazy.
I keep thinking about high school and I'm like, like if you taught people how to do this, that would definitely affect business in a certain way. But like, think about if your home life was so great because you knew how to do all these things. Like going back to like when you focus on yourself, it helps others.
Yeah, you can't pour in another bucket if your bucket's empty.
Exactly. You can't pour out of an empty pitcher.
Well, that's like the thing with the airlines. They tell you if we get into a situation, you put your air mask on first because two people incapacitated is not going to help anybody.
Right.
You have to help yourself so that way you're good
before you help others. So I think that if you could make it to where the individual household is good, then you could, like, if I'm not worried about my shit at home, I can focus on work. I can focus on finding what I want to do. You know what I mean? It's just, there's so many people who they can't, they hate their fucking job, but that's their only source of income and they can't figure it out. I mean, the rat race is real. People are stuck in a tradition. Like,
bro, the rat race.
I've gotten to the point where, you know, it's the weirdest conversation when I tell people that I don't want to retire, because I tell them I don't want to retire, but I want to have the ability to retire. It's a different fucking like mind shift. Because like my parents, I'm sure your parents are the same way. They grew up where they're just like, one day I'll be able to just quit.
Yeah, 70 years old, I'll be able to live off my 401k.
Just retire and sail off into the sunset. And you watch those people die shortly after they retire, and it's crazy. Or they go broke or whatever, or they just go, oh shit, I can't live the way I wanted to. So to me, I've always said that some of my favorite people and how they live their lives is they fucking ran a business until they fucking died.
Yeah.
And then they died 2 weeks, like they stopped working because they were in the hospital.
Yeah.
And that's just what they fucking did. That was their lives. Yep. But that's how you live to be old. You know?
One of my favorite things, and an older guy who owned a business told me this. He's like, you got 60 good rotations around this sun.
If you're lucky.
You got 60 good ones. And he told me, and it really changed. I was young when he said it to me. Funny enough, I thank God every day, or you know, whatever you want, whatever deity you believe in. God, that's God. God is mine. But I thank God every day that I've failed and ran into these people that have been able to distill some type of knowledge. And the whole, you have 60 good rotations around the sun, bro, that puts it into perspective for you, bro. Because I've already got 27 of them down.
Yep.
You're telling me that I've only got like fucking 27, 23 more?
Bro, if you put your life into perspective of how much time you have, like, so my wife and I bought these calendars. They're called the Weeks of Our Lives calendar. Mm-hmm. So it breaks down your life into total amount of weeks you'll live. So it's this calendar, like, it's got boxes. So every box across, it goes 52 boxes across. Mm-hmm. So every line represents 1 year, 52 weeks, 1 year. Mm-hmm. And you fill it out for how old you are, and it stops at 100. If you live to be 100, which is fucking abnormal.
It's crazy.
And I fill in 26, 27 years. Like, you look at it, how much is filled in and how much is left. It's like, I don't have much fucking time.
It really puts
I feel like I'm fucking young at 26. And I'm like, I look at that and I'm like, there's two ways to look at it. I still have time to fuck up, but it's like, but if I don't allow myself time to fail, if I don't allow myself the ability to fail, like, am I okay dying how I am now? Because if the answer is no, like, there's the, to me, and not to get all fucking self-help and shit, but there's the me that's who I am right now, and then there's the me of who I want to be.
Absolutely.
Those two things should not be far apart. And if they're far apart, it's your own fucking fault.
You're doing something wrong.
100%.
I told me and shout out the man that keeps me looking great, Apex the barber.
Likewise, we're both getting our haircuts on Monday.
Same day. So
same day, same barber.
If you haven't visited Fadeaway Barbershop in Plant City, it is the best of the best.
Bro, same kind of concept though. Dude was cutting hair on his own and started his own fucking business when he felt uncomfortable to do so. And dude, they're fucking doing great.
It's crazy because I did not know. I didn't know he cut hair, and we've all grown up together. Mm-hmm. And my old barber stopped cutting hair to do something else, and I didn't have a haircut for like 3 months. And I finally was like, I got to find somebody. And I followed him on Insta. We've always followed each other.
We went to elementary, middle, and high school together.
yeah, we've known each other since we were literally 6. Yeah. And one day I messaged him. I was like, "Hey, I need a haircut. What's up?" And I went in there, and he's probably the best barber I've ever had.
Oh,
I mean, at every turn, he's definitely does some of the best work, and I've seen him do some of the best work on other people, not just myself. And it takes a lot to make me look good. So, shout out my homeboy,
dude. His mom. He was at his mom's house cutting my hair. Like, he started in his driveway, and then eventually built like this little like off the side shop thing, and he's been cutting my hair there for. I mean, not there, but like that was like 10 years ago when I started getting my haircut from him, and I've just never changed. Like, I've been at all of the places he's ever cut hair.
He'll probably cut my hair on my wedding day.
Oh,
I'll be realistic.
My hair was cut by him, not the day of my wedding, but a week before.
I was gonna say I will hire him to cut my hair and every groomsman that I have. Like, dude, he's gonna be at the wedding, and he will be. A welcomed guest.
Bro, I cannot shout him out in his barbershop hardcore enough. There, it's a great place. It's not one of those barbershops you walk into and you're like, Like, it feels like someone just slapped you together. It feels like every individual part of that barbershop when you walk in that someone has given a shit about.
Yeah, he's proud.
Yeah.
Him and AB are so proud of what and they should be. Shout out.
Bro, it's
I'm talking about, you should be.
top of the line.
I go in there and I feel like the reason why I brought him up is because we had a conversation maybe, I don't know, 8 months ago. And it was about being better, being 1% better every day.
Yeah.
And I broke down the numbers because a lot of people don't understand numbers, right? If you strive to be 1% better every day, that means that at the end of the year, you will be 360% better than what you were at the beginning.
Yep.
And you don't have to achieve it every day because 360% is a crazy number to think about. But bro, if you're better 1% 100 days out of the year, you're going to be a whole different, you will be unrecognizable.
Even if you do half that,
Yeah.
that's unfucking recognizable. I mean, like, similar to like what you said, you were 300 pounds in high school. Like,
Yeah.
I was 285 plus. I was a fucking lard ass. You know what I mean?
bro, I was a fat piece of shit.
compared to what I am now. You know what I mean? Like, I was completely fucking different. And in 2019, I fucking, like, it was like because it was 2019 when I moved out. And when I moved out, I was like, I'm either going to fucking figure this out or I'm going to end up just like my fucking parents did.
Yeah.
And, you know, I fucking thank God that Cody had just lost a bunch of weight then too. And he was like, I'll show you how to do it, but you're going to fucking listen to me. If you don't want to listen to me, I don't have time for your shit.
You're going to fucking hate it.
Yeah. He's like, if you're not going to listen to me, like, you come back to me when you're ready.
Well, that was me. I lost 80 pounds in a year.
Yep.
But I do it so, like, when you're a big guy, for anybody who doesn't understand this, when you're big and you have more than 30 pounds of body fat to lose, you can't do it all at once or you get skin. You get, like, the flabby skin and, like, it's, like, loose and shit like that. And so
Which I still have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 265 pounds it might be a little less as of this morning. My sweet spot that I like to stay in is when I'm about 240 pounds, give or take 5 pounds on each side. That's when I feel the best. That's when I feel like I look the best, when my clothes fit the best. Because I'm still a little, like, I still got, a little bit of love handles and stuff. But I'm comfortable and I feel like I look good. When I'm right now, like, I'm cool because I know that I'm working and doing stuff like that. And, like, I'm not in the gym 6 days a week. To be 235 pounds at 6'3", you have to work out every day. Yeah. Like, it's just,
or you have to stop eating enough to where you're, like, satiated.
Yeah,
you have to eat very, very.
Let's be realistic here. My diet consists of, like, I eat probably a pound of ground sirloin per day, probably a half pound of chicken per day, probably a pound of rice per day. Yeah. And then that's just easily. Yeah. Oh, bro, that's me. Like, that's 3 meals a day. I eat 5. So a protein shake is in there too. That's 50 grams of protein. We're talking about 250 grams of protein per day.
What hasn't changed about me? So I lost like 75 pounds, right? Yep. And what people don't realize is that, like, I can still eat as much as I did when I was heavy.
Yeah.
It's just what I'm eating has changed, and I still eat a lot of the same shit. Yep. But, like, I mean, I run now, I lift weights, I do jiu-jitsu. Like, I do all of these things where it's like I can't allow that shit to creep back. Like, I used to not be able to do fucking push-ups.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Crazy, bro.
You know what I mean?
Whenever you get to that point, it's so bad. I've been there.
Yeah.
I went from, like, because, like, we worked out all the time, and I went from doing that to doing nothing. And then all of a sudden, I was like, bro, I think I was probably 34% body fat, somewhere around there. It was definitely in the 30s. I'm like low 20s now.
Yeah.
And so when you get to that point where you're like, I can't, bro, my biggest thing, call me a fat ass if you want, walking upstairs. You get to the top of one flight of stairs and you're like, yeah. And you're like, yo, I gotta do that 6 more times. Like, we moved David into his apartment and it was on the 2nd floor. We were both fat pieces of shit. Bro, we were dying. I'm talking about I was drenched in sweat first 20 minutes. And, like, now it's so crazy to think about because now I literally go outside and work all day fucking long and be fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy. That's something that I wish they would have taught us. We could start a seminar on the things that they should have fucking taught us.
Yeah, but literally
eating for your body size, for your body, for what your, like, body size
composition
or whatever. Yeah, for when, because, like, to be real with you, like, bro, people like me and you, and Cody is a great example too. Cody is in such good shape but that's because he watches what he eats. And it's so hard for people that are above the average adult male in the United States is like 5'8", if I'm not mistaken. I'll give you 5'10" because I'm being nice.
Yep.
But if you're above 5'10", everything that they tell you, every dietary supplement nutrition fact is horseshit. Like you might as well just double it. Like if they're telling you that they're basing it on a 2,000 calorie a day diet, you might as well just go ahead and base yours on a 3,500.
Bro, I would if I did no exercising and only ate 2,000 calories a day, I would steadily lose weight.
Bro, what?
I just can't do it.
It's physically it physically hurts.
I would be an absolute
malnourished.
dickhead. No, I would just be a dickhead. I mean, I'm over time I would be malnourished, but like 2 weeks into eating only 2,000 calories, and you wouldn't want to talk to me because I'd just be hungry all the time, and I'd be a fucking asshole.
So like I can get 3,000 calories like a sweet spot for 200 plus grams of protein. Right. So
unless you're eating fucking just chicken breast. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, unless you're eating something unless you're eating chicken breast and brown rice, which I'm a big advocate against brown rice. That shit's trash.
It's harder for your stomach to digest it.
Look at the cultures that have been eating rice for years. They eat white fucking rice. So like, and you know, what's funny is once I started losing weight, I started looking into things like enriched rice and the difference between like jasmine rice and enriched rice. And it's like, shout out to anybody who's trying to lose weight. This is we're putting you on right now. If you're trying to lose weight, eat red meat and a little bit of rice for about 30 days and come back and talk to me. Your whole life will change.
Bro, I mean, the big one for me was exercise because like I've always enjoyed like sports. Like even in high school when I was at my biggest, like I liked playing basketball.
Yeah.
But like, you know, working out by myself was not something that I was into. And then I started learning to lift weights with Cody. And then once I was able to run, going back to the push-up thing, once I was able to run, I was like, yo, I've never had this before. I don't ever want to fucking lose this.
Bro,
I hate running, but I didn't want to ever lose it. And same thing with push-ups. Like, I can do 5 push-ups in a row. I'm like, I'm never going back. I will stop eating and go anorexic before I get fucking 300 pounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. When I hit 260, that's when I'm like, whoa, you're a fat piece of shit.
Yeah,
because it's
mine's 225 now.
I just remember what it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember where I was before. Like, when you get up to when I get up to 260, like I can see my love handles a little bit more. I can see my tits a little bit more. Like, and it's not necessarily like I'm unhealthy or anything, but it's just like the physical aspect of like, you got to keep yourself in check.
Yep.
But yeah, for me, the push-up thing for me was pull-ups. I've always been a big guy. I played, offensive line in high school, defensive line, blah, blah, blah. So, like, we never had to do pull-ups. We were just
fucking pull-ups for a big dude is impossible.
Terrible, right? So I got down to, like, 242 pounds, and I was probably in some of the best shape that I've ever been in. And this was, like, 8 months ago, right? And so I remember we were in the gym one day. Shout out to my boy Mikey that I was talking about earlier that came through and made me do the tree. We were working out together and I was just like stretching my back in the gym. Like I was just like hanging and like I was just like, oh, I feel like I do a pull up. And I did a pull up and then I did another one. And all of a sudden I did 15 of them. And Mikey was like, yo. And Mikey was like, have you ever? I was like, bro, I've never done a pull-up before. I've never, 27 years old, I've never done a pull-up, 26 at the time. But 26 years old, I've never once done a pull-up before. And I busted out 15 of it. It felt great.
Yeah.
It feels so good whenever you like.
Moving your body through 3D space.
Yeah, bro.
It's fucking crazy.
It's just like you see the videos of people doing it and you don't understand, like, bro, that's like a 225 bench press. You know that only like 1% of the world's population can do that?
Yeah.
And like
probably less than 1%.
I think that it's like I say the 1% of the population because of women and everything like that. Right. But I think that you're probably right. It's probably less than that.
Of actual like adult males?
Yeah, of an adult male. Because you got to think the average adult male in America is literally 5'8", 160 pounds.
I think that's even overstating the weight too. I think the weight should actually probably be closer to 220 or something like that. Because I mean, so much of our fucking people our age are fucking overweight.
Yeah, well, they say that Americans have about the average adult American has like 20 to 30 pounds of excess body fat.
Yeah, which
is completely believable. I'll be honest with you, I think that number is probably low. I think
they just stopped the PE standards in 1960 versus now. Bro, I going back to how shitty high school is. Yeah. Oh yeah.
The videos.
Oh yeah. The gray, black and white times. Yeah.
Remember what we used to do,
bro. You could walk the track and still get a passing fucking A. Yeah. I was. I mentioned the other day. I was like, because I do jujitsu, and I'm like, I wish in high school they made it mandatory that you have to take some kind of physical activity class, but they didn't mandate what it was. But you had to like if they offered martial arts in fucking high school,
Yeah, bro.
like
Bullying would be gone.
bro,
first of all.
if you could
Let's be
learn
real.
wrestling or jujitsu or fucking taekwondo or karate, and it was something where you're getting like building confidence in yourself and realizing that in order to be active, you don't have to do shit you hate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
don't have to run 5 miles a day to be active.
If you hate yoga, if you hate fucking, lifting weights, if you hate, running, I fucking hate running. I mean, I've learned to love it, but like, just all of the shit that so many people grow up hating activity because what they view in their mind as activity is shit that they don't want to do. Yep. But then like for me, like basketball and like now that I do jiu-jitsu, I'm like, bro, if they had this in high school, I would have because I took 6 periods of culinary. I would have took fucking 6 periods of this shit. This shit's fun as fuck. Especially like when you start to see changes and you get better at it and you you start to feel like confident in yourself.
How do you like jiu-jitsu?
If I had to choose between the podcast and jiu-jitsu, I would probably pick jiu-jitsu.
Really? Is that because of like a personal impact, or is that because of like your actual like you enjoy one more than the other?
So,
because I feel like you do thoroughly enjoy the podcast,
bro. It's the most fucking fun thing
I mean,
ever. Besides jiu-jitsu,
that's the whole reason why I got on it, is because I was like, I know so many people. I feel like I would like the podcast would be kind of a cool thing just to talk to people. Like,
it's just I look at it like we grew up old school, like redneck, like sitting on a back porch, just fucking shooting the shit with people, staying up late at night, and you had nothing better to do than just fucking hang out and talk.
Hometown bullshit.
And that's what I love about it so much. And I'm like, oh wow, you're just creating a fun environment to have fun and enjoy each other's company and talk, and that's how ideas are discussed. But as far as jiu-jitsu goes, like every man has, if you have testosterone in your fucking veins, which every man does, different levels, all that shit, but every man has testosterone.
Shout out Mike Obama.
We texted about that yesterday. Every man has testosterone.
Yeah.
Testosterone makes you fucking aggressive. That's not up for discussion. It just is. And if a dude has testosterone in his body and is aggressive and has no outlet for that aggression, they find an outlet for it. I don't know about you, but like punching a wall was just something I did when I was fucking hitting puberty. You know what I mean? Like if you get pissed off, it was easy to run your fist through fucking drywall.
I played football.
You had an outlet.
I had an outlet.
If you didn't have an outlet, you found an outlet for it somewhere else.
They say that they did a test study they injected a woman with average adult male's level of testosterone, and she said that she could not physically focus.
She just wanted to fuck everything.
She just wanted to fuck everything. Like there was guys in her office that she would never have thought about. She wanted to fuck everything.
Yeah.
And like
they don't understand, bro.
They have no idea. Like, bro, I wake up in the morning and if my wiener touches a pillow, I get a boner.
Right, bro, 100%. Like the wind changes direction. Oh.
Yeah, bro. My girl looks at me the wrong way, and I'm like, "Hey, come over here real quick." And she's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "What's wrong with you?"
Bro, 100%. No,
the testosterone thing I've thought heavily about because I'm a big guy, and I dabbled in wrestling in high school. I was a typical 17-year-old adult male. I thought it was gay because of the singlets. Very wrong. Shout out to Indian.
But to be fair, if they got rid of the singlets, it would be. I mean that's a huge part of what makes it gay.
I mean, 100%. Like to be honest with you, if I could have just worn basketball shorts, or even like my sliders, like my Nike Pro Combat, like the underwear underneath, if we could have just worn those in like a shirt or like a compression fit shirt, it would have been fine.
Like what jiu-jitsu dudes wear. But regardless,
a gi.
Well, not even gi. I'm talking like no gi. That's the jiu-jitsu I do is no gi. But
okay.
But so going back to that jiu-jitsu, like in karate and stuff like that, when you're sparring, you have to like go like 50% or 40%. You know what I mean? You're not going full blast because you're not trying to KO.
Same thing with football practice. You're not trying to actually hurt nobody.
But it's not like that in jiu-jitsu. In jiu-jitsu, you're going 100%
all the time.
Sometimes more than 100%. You're going to your fucking limit. When you roll with somebody, which is basically sparring in jiu-jitsu, you're going fucking ham. And like, bro, there's never been a time where I've left jiu-jitsu where I'm angry. Like every time I leave, I'm just like fucking cool as a cucumber.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself, like, especially knowing I have an outlet for aggression, I'm less aggressive in everything I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because like I'm literally like lifting weights was a great way for me to get aggression out. You know, you fucking lift weights, you grind your teeth, you're fucking mad.
It only goes so far though.
Right. And but just being able to I feel like masculine dudes need to be around masculine dudes.
Absolutely.
Like my best friends are like fucking alpha males. You know what I mean? Like it's just what it is.
Yeah.
And
If we're all fighting, we're all fighting.
I mean, I don't know about
we don't
you,
want to.
I grew up like where like I only had a brother, and he was an older brother. Always was bigger than me.
Yeah.
And like we just fought. It's just what happened.
That's how me and my cousins were. I didn't have a brother, but I had 3 or 4 boy cousins, and we used to absolutely beat the shit out of each other.
That's what I'm saying. That's just what you do.
Remember Cade broke a airsoft gun over the back of my head when we were kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just dumb shit like that. But
Yeah.
the aggression for jiu-jitsu. I've thought about getting into it. I just feel like I have such little, for sure, open time. That's like even going to the gym for me. Like I have to have a 24-hour membership. Like it has to be a gym that's open 24 hours a day, because there's days where I can go at 5 a.m. and there's days that I can go at 9 a.m. and then there's days that I'm not off work until 6:30.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've really wanted to. I think that as men, and if you don't think this way, then we obviously know where you fall in the lineup. But every time I meet somebody new, there's just that first moment of like, oh,
can I kill you?
Can I take this guy?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, not
100%.
and not anything like malicious or anything. Like, not like I want to fucking kill you. Or anything.
Right.
But it's just like that like you size somebody up, and it's like, is this person a threat or not? When it boils down to it, and there's a yes or a no. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't think that way, then I'm happy for you, because I think that way.
Are you a fucking shaman, dude?
Yeah.
I could never. Are you a fucking monk, dude? I could never.
Pussy? No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
I don't know about you, but I'm 6 foot tall, and anytime I'm around somebody who's not 6 foot tall, that's shorter than me, I'm literally like, fucking little guy.
Victim weight. No.
I feel like Conor McGregor at a press conference. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, I told one guy one time he was talking shit to me, and I was like, look, Bubba, 100 years ago, you would have been a fucking baker, and I would have been a Viking. Don't come over here with that bullshit.
It's 100%. And maybe it's just our dumb fucking chimp brains, but I feel the same way. And jiu-jitsu gives me a confidence that I cannot. Like, there's this whole death and rebirth of your fucking ego when you go through jiu-jitsu.
Because because they can kill you.
Because you're 6'3", 250 pounds. If you feel like you're like, oh, I could fucking handle myself.
Yeah.
And then some 160-pound dude in jiu-jitsu works you like a fucking kid playing with their dad.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like, I'm hoping one day I can get one of the guys at my jiu-jitsu school. He's a black belt. His name's Ian. Same age as me. Dude weighs like 160, 170 pounds.
And
He's
he
like
will
5'7".
fucking kill you.
I feel like a toddler being thrown around by their dad.
Yeah.
He's a motherfucker.
Yeah.
And dude, it's so crazy because I'm like, this whole level of like, I'm 230 pounds when I started jiu-jitsu, and I'm 6 foot tall. I'm like, I'm a motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you just get worked. And you literally like, you're left to deal with your own mind. So there's this death and rebirth of your ego, which I think is great because you earn your fucking ego.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then going back to like people who can bench press 225 being a small percentage, the percentage of people that grapple is so fucking small that like most of the time it feels like it's the closest thing to a superpower I can imagine. Because you literally like the amount of confidence that you get rightly earned as you earn it is fucking awesome.
Well, that's like I boxed for like 2 years whenever I was living over in Vero Beach. And it wasn't necessarily like learn how to fight, because obviously you know how to fight. We're fucking rednecks when we do that. But it was more or less of like just trying to stay in shape and to do like an aggression outlet, right? And so for me, I learned so fast that death and birth of your ego. Bro, there are guys out here that are 5'5" that will beat your ass if you aren't careful. And like, I'm not saying that like every single time someone, if you're over 6 feet tall, you automatically have an advantage, because at the end of the day, bro,
Weight's weight.
If I can get a hold of you and I can pick you up and 12 to 6 you, it's a bad time. Yeah. And you might not, if you can handle yourself, you can handle that.
Or if you land one punch, you have 240 pounds behind it.
The other side of it is like, bro, I can open hand slap you and knock you out.
Yeah.
Like if you're 5'8" or below, if you're not really on your P's and Q's and I get you the right way, I will put you on your butt if I connect with a slap. And
in striking sports, that's why there's weight classes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I agree with it. Like same thing with like I say UFC, but like even jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. Like, bro, if someone's 300 pounds and they want to roll with someone who's 120 pounds, obviously the guy who's 120 pounds, if he's a black belt, he can handle his own. Right. But it's just not right. Like that's not something like there's a reason why. Like, hey, I'm 150 and my buddy's 225. go roll with him.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? He's your size. That
Yeah.
pick on someone your own size thing, that's real. Obviously, your friend Ian could probably kill 3 people if you wanted to in the same room. Like,
Bro,
you
it's
get
so
in close
great.
combat situations with somebody like that when you're in like a bathroom stall or like a room like this, like, Bubba, you better be on it, because
That's one thing I've noticed about people who are really good at jiu-jitsu, though. They have nothing to prove. Like,
Yeah.
like you meet them and they're like the most docile. Most of them are like pretty docile. They're just like they wield this great power,
Mm-hmm.
so they have no desire to like flex it on people. It's the people who bully people are typically the ones who have confidence issues.
Yeah.
And in jiu-jitsu, you earn your fucking confidence.
Yeah.
And when you have confidence, you have no desire. You're like, okay, yeah, whatever. You beat my ass. Oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
cool.
whatever.
If it actually comes down to it, you're gonna get fucking choked unconscious
Yeah,
if I
well,
don't break
I
one of your
tell-
limbs.
See, and that's the part that bothers me is like, I'm 6'3", 260 pounds. I can front kick you in your knee and snap your fucking leg, bro. Like, don't like do like, and that's the biggest thing is like, and let's boil it down. Let's really break it down for you. If it's about me and mine,
Yeah,
I will fucking kill you.
I'll bite your nose off.
I will
Yeah.
literally do everything I can to, bro, I'll pull your guts out. Like, stop fucking around.
I'll
Like,
reach through your asshole and
yeah,
pull your
bro.
innards
Like,
out.
I'm not with it. Like, just don't. And it's not that I want to. It's not that like that's something I've always felt like guys that are overly aggressive just have little wieners, or they've never like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it may be. Like, it's just that fact of like, if you come over here and you want to fuck around,
You gonna find out.
you're gonna find out. And like, I promise you, in a street fight, I don't really want to fight you. I don't want to stand here and box. If you want to box me, let's go get in the ring. Let me put my headpiece on. Let me put my mouthpiece in so my teeth don't get knocked out. Let me wrap my wrists. Like, in a street fight, I want it to end immediately. I want to
Yep.
kick you in the stomach to where you can't breathe, and I'm going to mount you and rear naked choke you until you cannot, until you're out.
Right.
And and that's the other side of it is like, when I put you, if I put you in a chokehold, there's no tapping. There's no referee to let you out of this.
It's till your body goes limp.
It's until you're no longer a threat.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is. And like, people just don't get that.
Yeah.
People want to fuck around nowadays, and they don't understand that like, there's real motherfuckers, that there are John Wicks out here walking around that will kill you with a pencil, bro.
there's people too. Most people. So the way Robbie, the guy who runs the school, his name's Robbie, which you're probably going to go to jiu-jitsu with me one day, but regardless, Robbie was talking about how, like, you know, every dude, if I asked you, do you play guitar? Like, no, I don't play guitar. You wouldn't say you're a guitarist, but 100% of dudes, you're like, oh, do you train to fight? And you're like, no. I'm like, oh, but in a street fight.
Oh yeah, I black out.
Yeah, exactly. I see
Everything
red,
goes
dog.
black.
I see red,
Yeah,
dog.
bro, you get knocked out. That's what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, and that's the problem is dudes that don't train at all will be like, oh yeah, but like if the circumstances were right, you know what I mean? They just look. But that's and I can't say that I wasn't the same way though as being a bigger dude, because like I did karate in like middle school and high school, so like I know how to punch people. Like I'm not scared of fucking punching somebody.
Yeah.
But there's also this false sense of like so Cody grew up with his brother. His older brother wrestled. His brother like wrestled at like state level.
Yeah.
So Cody inadvertently, being boys close in age, they
you
fucking
wrestled.
wrestled. So Cody knows more about wrestling than I did at one point. And anytime you'd fuck around with your friends, you're obviously not going to punch him in the face.
Yeah, but wrestling is a man's thing. We're gonna let's judge it real quick.
I was confident anytime we would talk about it. This is years ago, but anytime we would talk about it, I'd be like, oh, if it was a punching battle, I would win.
Yeah.
But anytime he grabs a hold of me, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
And that not feeling confident when someone grabs a hold of you and you're on the ground, that's scary.
That's true
Try
fear.
to stand back up when another grown man has got you pinned down. That's fucking. I literally was like, I don't like feeling like I have a vulnerability when it comes to that. And I was like, nah, fuck this. I'm gonna get good at this shit.
Well, that's like I liked wrestling because I was like so being, and you probably dealt with this too. When you're over a certain size, you don't realize how strong you are.
100%.
Like I have never, and my mom used to tell me this all the time when I was growing up, because I had a little sister, and like my sister wanted a roughhouse, and she would always tell me like, hey, you know, you're way stronger than you think you are.
Yeah.
And then I got to high school and realized that like I could really, my first time wrestling with somebody, like the whole like wrist fighting situation, right? They come up and they grab the back of your neck and your wrist.
Yeah.
The first time I ever pulled up on somebody that like really thought like they were supposed to be that guy, right? You know what I'm saying?
And they grab a hold of you like, this motherfucker isn't even strong.
They grabbed a hold of my neck and tried to like popped down. And I just kind of like laughed a little bit because it was like, Bubba, you don't know what you're in for. Like, and it wasn't even, it was like that moment that you're talking about where like when another grown ass man grabs a hold of you, what are you going to do?
Right.
Because now we're in this situation. And
you have to make decisions.
You got to make life decisions real quick. And that's always been something for me. Like, I tell everybody that. Don't. Let's not get on the ground. Because I kind of, my bad, I didn't hit the mic.
You're good.
I like, I'm sure that if we're in a grappling situation, you're going to fuck me up because you've been training for it, right? That's just if you have an ego and you can't accept that somebody else can whoop your ass, that's where you're at. But I'm sure that because you've been training, I'm sure that the first 30 seconds I'm going to be like, all right, cool. And then after that, it's going to be like, I have no fucking idea what right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's the thing is how long can you, versus somebody that knows what they're doing, how long can you hold out?
Bro, 100%.
That's the game.
So when I started training, this guy's been on the podcast before, the guy who was like my first jiu-jitsu coach, his name's Andrew. And Andrew's like 180, 185 pounds.
Yeah, which is a big guy.
And he's like 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", something like that. He's a little bit shorter than me. And like you see some people and you're like especially like jacked dudes, you're like, oh, he's going to be really strong. And then I've rolled with some jacked dudes and I'm like, God, I mean, he's average strength. Doesn't feel strong.
That gym strength and that farm strength is different.
So Andrew does calisthenic style workouts. Like I'm talking muscle ups to like clapping and
muscle ups are crazy.
Dude is incredibly strong. When he grabs a hold of you with just his fucking hand, you go, oh, there's levels to this shit.
Yeah.
Because when you see Andrew, you're like, oh, he looks like he's built like an athlete.
Yeah.
And he's a trainer too, so he's like legit. He's an athlete.
Yeah.
But when he grabs a hold of you, you're like, oh, this is fucking different strength. This is like I mean, you feel it when he grabs your wrist. You're like, oh, this is like, I'm fucked. And then there's dudes where I'm like, I've rolled with people that are 230 pounds and that looked yoked, and then they grab a hold of you, and I'm like, are you giving me half of what you have? Because like, I would think you're way stronger than this, but you don't feel stronger. You know what I mean? It's just different workout methods too.
I've always thought that people that want to look good will never be as strong as the people that are okay with how it looks.
We lost. The card is full. What the fuck? We lost audio. Let me go pause everything real quick and we'll get this situated.
Very good.
Somehow we're adults. Do.
If it fucking works out, sorry. Anybody that might be listening and hearing her jump around, had some issues, technical difficulties.
Fucking tequila.
Well, that's the only way you get a redneck to deal with technology is having technical difficulties and trying to fucking figure it out.
Very true.
So as far as jiu-jitsu goes, it feels like a fucking superpower.
Yeah.
You feel like you walk into a room and you're like, especially when you've been doing jiu-jitsu long enough, when you roll with somebody who's never done it before. And like I remember I'd been doing jiu-jitsu for less than 6 months, and this fucking dude came in who was built like a Greek god. I mean, just fucking, you could see his abs through his shirt. He was just fucking yoked. And he was like 260 pounds, just yoked.
That's
giant,
crazy.
Just giant black dude. And I remember, I'm not an imposing fucking person when this dude's 6'4" and 260 pounds. Yeah. And then I fucking armbarred him.
Yeah.
And I like took his back and like choked him. And I literally was like, yo.
That changes things for you.
I literally was like, you would see these two dudes and be like, oh, 100% most people would say the giant jacked dude is going to beat my ass. And then just me to take his back and fucking choke him. It's just crazy.
Those are my favorite memes is like of the Daniel Cormier.
Yeah.
And because he's like he's a chubbier guy, you know what I mean? He doesn't have a six pack and abs and, big biceps and all that. But that's a bad man. Yeah. That's a bad boy right there. You don't want to roll with Daniel Cormier because he's a big guy. Yeah. It's just the moment that you realize that like, oh, I am more capable. You know what I mean? Like the moment that you realize that like, and ego plays a big role because like you said, 90% of men think that they can go into a street fight and win. Mm-hmm. And it's like, all right, what happens when and Joe Rogan, I think it was on his podcast, I saw a video and it was like, Joe said, if I was ever to get into a street fight, I would just let you do your thing for like the first minute because then you're tired. Yeah. And now I'm going to maul you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna drag you into deep water and I'm going to drown you.
Yeah, you're gonna have to figure it out, and that's so funny. I think that's why I've always been so big on like, bro, you just need to respect everybody. Like, don't get me wrong, don't be afraid to take action when you need it. But as far as I'm concerned, everybody deserves the same level of respect. But I will tell you this: there are certain cues you can pick up on. If somebody looks at you and asks you if you're sure you want to roll with them, maybe think about where you're at.
Yeah. Yeah. There's this definitely this level of like I did for my birthday last year, it was about 7 months ago or so, and I had my brother and some of my friends over who don't train at all, and I was like, I just want to roll, like come over and just fucking hang out.
Yeah.
At the gym that I go to, we do 6-minute rounds. I would set
It's
a
a long
timer.
time.
To me it's not,
But for the normal,
because I would do
6 minutes.
10 6-minute rounds.
Yeah.
They literally would make it 2 minutes into one 6-minute round and be like, they would be tapping from exhaustion.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, this is like anything else. Like, they're blowing their wad because they don't know how else to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just fucking sprinting in their mind. And to me, I'm just like, oh, just move my arm here, go around here.
Yeah. Well,
go out the back door, I'm on their
it's
back.
that level of like you've been there before. You know what I mean? And like that level of like being in those uncomfortable situations builds a level of comfortability with everything. So like most people, if someone gets you into almost, or someone's trying to move you into an armbar, have no idea how to like counter that. But for someone like you, it's like, oh, he's trying to put me in an armbar. I'm going to shift my weight this way, and I'm going to pull my shoulder in a little bit more. And then it's not going to stop him, but it's going to make it very difficult for him to do it. Or like, I'm going to put my foot in this position so that way he cannot actually like grab me and move me. So I think that every adult male, I mean, I've wanted to do it for a long time. I've just been.
Took me 3 years to start, by the way.
I mean, bro, I've been thinking about it for probably 7 since I started the business. I've been fucking thinking about it. I just feel like you said, that outlet, that aggression outlet, that like outlet of knowing that like I can go over here and I can roll and I can tell somebody, you know what I'm saying? I could come like if I started doing jiu-jitsu and you were there and I'd be like, yo, I'm having a bad day. I'm a little pissed off.
Bro, it's
You're
a brotherhood.
You're going to know.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, okay, we're going to go from 50 to 75% today. You know what I'm saying? Like if I do something or you know what you said, you don't ever tone it. In jiu-jitsu, you're not really toning it down. So like
you can.
But it's just one of those things.
More times than not, you're going 100%.
Yeah, if I show up and I'm like, yo, I'm not having a good day, it's like, okay, we're gonna roll. Like we're not. This isn't just like a. You know what I mean? Like you.
But that might be the day where like if you show up and you've had a bad day and you're super aggressive, and I know I'm better than you, I might tone myself down to 50% and let you go 100%. Like obviously, you like when you get good enough at jiu-jitsu, you can feel when the other person isn't going 100%. Yeah. Especially black belts. Like when I rolled with Ian, he's literally like, I mean, he's like thinking about what he's been having for dinner that night. It's just fucking ridiculous. Same thing with Robbie. You roll with him and he's like not even concerned. He's not even slightly afraid. Yeah. But like when I would in that situation, I'd be like, okay, Cole's got some shit. I'm gonna let this motherfucker work because I'm gonna make sure he had a bad day at work. I'm gonna make sure he has a good day here.
Yeah.
And there's a reason you see so many veterans and so many first responders and so many people who work high stress jobs doing something like that, because it's like this environment where you're around, you know, like men. You know what I mean? For lack of a better way to put it, just men.
I've always said this, and like if you know me, I'm a real big advocate on like strong men need other strong men to lean on.
Yep.
And these moments where you feel weak or you feel like you're lacking or whatever it may be, you need 2 to 5 strong guys around you with strong mindsets that you can call and be like, yo, this is what I got going on.
They don't just tell you what you want to hear. They tell you the fucking hard truth.
They don't falter. They don't fucking, there's no question about it. There's no anything like that. It could be, there's a video going around and it's like, a lot of you guys have 3 p.m. friends, but how many of you have a 3 a.m. friend? How many of you have a guy that you can call at 3 o'clock in the morning because your car broke down, you're on the side of the road, and it's you and your family, and you don't know what the fuck to do? Right. How many people have that? And like, that's something for me. Like, if that's probably the highest compliment anybody. If I am your 3 a.m. friend, bro, like that means more to me than anything, because it's like, you can call me and like, I might be asleep, I might be doing whatever it may be, but you know that you took that opportunity, or you took that chance of being like, I'm gonna call this motherfucker at 3 a.m. and he's probably gonna answer. And me knowing that you feel confident enough or like comfortable enough to like depend on me or to feel like you can is enough for me to want to be there. Yeah. So like, because I know I might need it one day. And to be honest with you, bro, I have a lot, like I am not one of the, I would like to say that I'm a mentally strong adult male. So I'm not someone that falters very often. Yeah. But there have been times where it's like I have been picked up by the people around me, and it means the world. Bro. I mean, it's the brotherhood aspect of it. Like when you have there's a bunch of movies and shit, but like you got 3 motherfuckers.
That's what I thought when I laughed earlier. I was thinking about Joey Diaz. Like, you just need 3 bad motherfuckers,
and you can take over the country.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no. I was thinking about the movie. Oh damn it! I'm gonna forget it now.
I don't know.
The one with the guy who plays Hawkeye. And they're
he can't ask me what we're doing. You can't ask me where we're going.
Yeah.
We can't ever speak about it again. And he goes, okay, who's driving?
And we're gonna hurt some people.
He said, who's driving?
Whose car are we taking?
Bro,
that's real shit.
That's the second thing I thought about too. This is the second thing I thought about was
Joey
that same
Diaz
movie.
popped into. That's funny because like I thought of the first one, and then when you were like, oh yeah, Joey Diaz, I was like, yeah, that was the other one that I was thinking.
Yeah,
Joey Diaz
hilarious.
is a great guy.
But it's so true is that to have that, like, I think what it really boils down to is people that you can be vulnerable around, because there's too many dudes that like they have to put on this machismo, like I'm hardcore more than I am, and it's like, no man, we're all fucking people.
Yeah.
And like, to me, I've always respected individuals for like admitting when they're not being hardcore. You know what I mean? Like I respect people who are fucking, you know, like I'm very much like a truth teller. That might to a fault, where I'm like very, very, you know, like I can tell you I lacked confidence in a lot of things. I have so much confidence now that I'm okay with like people feeling like they're more confident than me. I'm like, cool, you think, okay, that's cool, that's fine. But like, that's just, I've worked very hard to get to that level of confidence.
See, I never had like a lack of confidence. I always had a lack of believing in myself. Right? So like I was confident enough to put myself in the situation, but then in the moment I would second guess it. Mm-hmm. Like and like nothing, like no one around me or anything, but just me, like I would second guess myself, and that would bring like this little like falter or lack of a, you know, whatever it may be into the situation. I know we were just talking about it. The whole like building confidence because of jiu-jitsu and everything like that, like bro, a lot of people go through that, and a lot of people don't know how to deal with that, because I mean that's how I feel. Like I don't care, like if you have it better than me, cool. If you think that you're doing better than me, cool, bro. Like, shout out to you. I hope you are. Right. Because I'm doing great. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope if you think you're doing better than me, I hope you are. I hope with everything in me that you are doing better than me. Because
that's such a wild thing, because so many people don't feel that way.
Like, I'm want
to be better than everybody.
Yeah, no, I'm out. Yeah. My favorite thing to tell people, because when I was younger, when I first started out, I didn't know. There's no competition at the top, only collaboration. So when you're talking about these top percentages of companies, they don't give a fuck whether you're doing the same thing they are.
Yeah.
Because I've got the work.
Yeah.
I don't care whether you're cutting trees down. I'll help you out. I'll teach you how to do it.
Yeah.
You might teach me how to do something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like when you're up at the top, or when you're trying to get to the top, the sooner you realize that the competition isn't a thing. It's just it will change everything for you.
It's the people that are at the top are typically the ones who have mastered themselves.
Yeah.
And that's really what it amounts to. And most of them will tell you that. They've just gotten really good at handling themselves.
Well, that's like for me, one of my biggest things was I didn't have a dad growing up. So I was a very emotional child. I was a very emotional adolescent young man. And for me, being able, because I still am an emotional guy. That video that I posted on Instagram the other day, or yesterday or so, where it was like, if you were going where I'm going, you'd be up early too. That voice clip damn near brings me to tears every single time. Like the end of it says, if you knew it was going to stack up for you how it's stacking up for me, you'd be up early too. And right now it brings, I got fucking tears in my eyes, because I never knew it was going to stack up like it is. I never one time thought ever that it was going to stack up and we were going to be where we're at. And a lot of times I got to take that step back and be thankful for where you're at. Because I remember there were days where I used to cry. I used to come home from work and it'd be fucking 9 p.m. and I'd have to be up at 4 a.m. to go pick somebody up to go to work the next day. And you just sit there and you fucking just have some, there's just a couple of those tears of like, what the fuck am I doing? And now I look back and it's like, there's tears of like, thank God I did all that shit. Thank God I walked in that path. Thank God. So I don't know. I
tell my wife all the time, just to piggyback off what you just said. I tell my wife all the time, I'm like, if I died tomorrow, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, is there more things I want to get done? Yeah. But I'm so fucking happy with all of the work I've put in to be where I'm at. Because when I started this podcast, I did not love my life.
Yeah.
I definitely, when I started my podcast, it was going to be it was like the little fucking glimmer of hope that grew into what it is now. Like, I'm so happy with all the things I do. Like, I can actually just sit and be comfortable with who I am.
Yep.
But it fucking took forever to get to that spot.
Absolutely. That's the growing up as a young man though thing. Like, you don't really know yourself until you're in your mid to late 20s, and then if you created such bad habits when you were younger, and now you have to fight those bad habits and figure them out. And I mean, we all created some habits when we were younger. I tell my girlfriend, if I were to be gone, something were to happen, God forbid, what are they going to say about me at my funeral?
Mm-hmm.
What are y'all going to sit around and say? Because, to be honest with you, I don't really want y'all to sit around and say that you miss me and that you loved me and that I was so loving and this and that. I would rather hear the truth. I'd rather everybody say, yeah, he's kind of an asshole. Like, no, and I mean, because that's what it boils down to. Like, if you're gonna, let's be real, funerals are a bunch of bullshit. Like, you go to these funerals and you try to remember the good in somebody and all the stuff that they did and blah blah blah. But if you're just naturally like, bro, I'll pull over on the side of the road and help somebody change a tire. I don't need help. I don't need you to shake my hand. I don't need you to tell me thank you. None of that shit. I'd want you to do it for me. There's been several times where we've been going places and like the little air pumps at Wawa, there'll be a little old lady or a little old guy, an older gentleman or an older lady that just, they're struggling because they're you guys, it's a little bit difficult. And I just go over there and I'll take the 15 minutes out of the time, because what's 15 minutes to help somebody that, probably worked their ass off their whole life and
to fucking scrape by on Social Security as an adult.
It's little stuff like that where like 90% of the people that have ever met me will for sure tell you that I'm an asshole, a dickhead, a smart ass, this and that, whatever you want to call it. And I'm okay with that. I've come to terms with it because I'm blunt. I am probably blunt to a fault, really.
That's literally the exact phrase I've used to describe myself.
Yeah, like
I'm truthful to a fault.
Don't ask me a question if you don't want to know how I really fucking feel about it. And because I'll tell you. You want me to tell you the truth? I hit my girlfriend with this all the time. You want me to tell you the truth, or you want me to tell you what you want to hear? 9 times out of 10, this is the funny part. She'll go, tell me what I want to hear.
100% of the time.
10 minutes later, she'll go, all right, motherfucker, tell me the truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so funny. So, like, I've always been a real big advocate on, like, I don't give a fuck what anybody has to say. If you know me, if you really know me, if you got my fucking cell phone number and you can call me, you know damn well the type of person I am. Or you at least know that, like, bro, I'm not gonna see you drive. Like, I'm not gonna see you on the side of interstate one day, 8 p.m. It's dark. You don't know that I passed by you, and I'm not gonna stop. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people that like, fuck it, that's not my problem. For me, it's like, bro, fuck it, you need a ride home.
So I tried going on that same that just really boils down to morals, right?
Yeah.
And so the other day when I was at my hunting camp, and it's in North Florida, we to get into the tree stand at dark, you have to leave early as fuck. Well, we left at fucking 5:30 in the morning, and we're driving down this fucking back road at dark, and we're behind this fucking Jeep Wrangler, and it's fucking swerving all over the road. Like, I'm talking in and out of both ditches on both sides.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, this person's fucked up. And very rarely do I, like, as we spoke previously, we both grew up in the country where leave everybody else alone. You're not bothering me. I'm not bothered. But I literally was like, I told my brother who's riding in the truck with me, I was like, call the cops. I'm like, this person's drunk as fuck.
He's going to kill somebody.
All I could see is that we were behind them, and I was like, could you imagine driving towards them?
Oh yeah.
I'm like, it'd be fucking terrifying. That was like, not only were they just going 20 miles an hour under the speed limit, but then they sped up to fucking 85, and they're in and out of ditches. I was like, this person's fucked. They almost flipped their Jeep. Yeah. And I told my wife, I said, we watched them pull into a gas station, and they ran into the curb on one of the gas pumps. And this was after we had called the cops. Cops knew about it, and we just passed by them. And I told my wife, I was like, I don't feel like I did enough in that situation. Yeah. And she's like, what do you mean? You protected yourself? And I was like, but we didn't stop them. I feel like, and I was like, I don't know what it is about me, but we should have pulled in and stopped them.
Yeah.
She's like, well, what if they pulled out a gun? And I'm like, that's cool. Cody had his gun and his rifle, or his pistol and his rifle. I had my pistol and my rifle. I'm literally sitting next to my rifle when I hunt.
Yeah, I'm not worried about you with a gun if I've got mine.
And plus, we're all stone cold sober.
Yeah.
I was like,
there's no way your reaction time is my reaction time, Bubba.
Not on top of that, Cody's 240 pounds. My brother's 210 pounds. I'm 220 pounds. We're fucking, and we're all stone cold sober with firearms in the middle of the woods. And this person's clearly can't even. I've driven drunk before.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have too.
All of us have, yeah.
I have never driven that drunk.
No.
I have never been all over the fucking road.
I've never driven. I've always had a couple drinks and then driven home.
And I drove home like a fucking grandma. I'm talking like...
It's never been like I've stumbled out of the bar and someone had to fight me over my keys or anything like that. Like, bro, if you drive drunk, you're just
I would say I've driven buzzed.
Yeah, there you go.
And not very far. Yeah, I'm talking like 2 miles.
Yeah,
everybody that I would get that drunk and then even entertain the idea, you shouldn't do it at all.
No, absolutely not.
And I regret every time I've ever done it. But I've never been that fucked up. I told my wife, I was like, Cody was in his Jeep, I was in my truck. We could have easily pulled in and we could have blocked them in.
Yeah.
And then we could have made sure they didn't leave. Yeah. And then my wife she's very much, and rightly so, she's very much like, I don't want you to put yourself in harm's way. And I'm like,
of course.
I feel bad because that person could have easily then drove out and killed a family of 4. Yeah. And then knowing that, I'm like, I've always been growing up in the country, like what we do, like cops are like, you call the cops to get the body. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of the motto. I'm not hiding in my closet when someone's breaking in. I'm facing it. The amount of times I've been in my underwear in my front yard with a gun in my hand is ridiculous.
Gun and a flashlight.
Exactly. and so I'm like, we had the opportunity, the wherewithal. We were more armed than most cops at most scenes.
Absolutely.
And I was like, we should have blocked them in and stopped it. And I this was last week, and I still feel like I'm like just relying on the cops to find him. I'm like, he's right in front of us. We could have stopped it right then and there. And so I get her point of it where she's like, you shouldn't put yourself in that harm's way, you know. But there's this moral aspect of me where it's like I could have stopped it in general.
I truly do believe that when you do these things that put you at a different level than the normal adult male, jiu-jitsu is a great example, right? You have that confidence level and you have the ability to know that you can stop that situation, right? And it's not exactly like your duty, but you're a human being just like they are. So like they could be having a bad day. They could be trying to kill themselves. They could be drinking themselves to death. You know what I'm saying? They could be in a bad spot and no one's ever said anything to them about it being a problem. And then all of a sudden 3 guys come up and they're like, yo, we watched you, blah, 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 blah. You got to stop, call somebody. And then that could have changed everything for them. That could have been the turning point in their problematic story. So to me, it's not just about like, you could be feeling bad because you could have changed their lives. Not because you could have taken action and saved somebody else's life, but you could have helped that person. And I think that the world would be a better place if everyone kind of thought that way. Like I could help them. I could stop them from hurting themselves and somebody else. And like, because
I'm not gonna lie, I felt bad this entire week because of that situation. Like I play it back in my mind. I'm like, we could have just pulled into that gas station and stopped it. Yeah. Stop. It could have stopped. It could have. Like, I didn't even think about it from that perspective. We could have pulled it over and been like, "Dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, like, you okay?"
And we might have changed that dude's life. Yeah. Or well, I assume a dude, but it might not have been a. It might have been a chick,
whatever it may be. That's how I always try to look at it. Is like, you can be angry about it, right? And that's most people's normal reaction is to be pissed off about a situation because they're putting people in harm's way or they're doing this or they're doing that. But what the fuck are they? Why are they in that situation? What happened today? You know what I'm saying? Because that guy's, the love of his life could have broke up with him that night. He could have lost his kid that day. He could have, you know what I mean? There's a fucking...
Clearly, it's not the peak of his life.
Exactly. And we've all done it. Like you said, we've all maybe not drove blackout drunk, but we've all been in a bad position in our lives where we needed somebody to help out. And honestly, I feel like that's just a decent responsibility of every human being.
Too many people lack the the agency in their own life to take care of things. And going back to jiu-jitsu and going back to all this stuff, Joe Rogan's been a huge impact on me. Obviously, I do fucking jiu-jitsu in a podcast, and I
love
hunt.
Joe.
I mean, I'm
Big
literally
fan.
like, yeah, I'm like great value Joe Rogan, but so
Not great value, Joe Rogan, dog.
but my thought is the quote that he always says: "It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in war."
Yeah.
So like to me, I'm always training for like to be ready. I want to be that strong men make easy times. I want to be that strong man that makes easy times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm so focused on being. The quote that I hear in my mind when I go for runs and I get tired is, "I want to be that motherfucker."
Yeah.
That's as crazy as it sounds. I'm like, there was one time I ran a 5K and I was passing people. I'm like, I'm that motherfucker.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, you're taking a little bit of energy with every person you take because you know they're thinking about it.
Yep.
And every time I pass somebody, they're going, "Oh, this motherfucker passed me. He's faster than me."
Well, that's kind of like I get a little bit of a. People are always comparing me, right? Like so, like the people that I'm around to, like because of business, I took the sprint approach. My grandpa summed it up very well. Me and my uncle. My uncle's like, he's gonna hate me for this. For like 50, he's like 50 years old, late 40s. We started a business at the same time. And my grandpa always laughs because he's like, you and your uncle are polar opposites. He would not dip his foot off into something. You ran like a ball of fire in one direction as fast as you could go. Like you were just going.
You
going.
cannonballed when he was dipping his toe in.
Yeah. And he was like, and that's the difference between the two of you is that you want that competition. You want to be in those stressful situations. You want to be there because you're I'm young or younger anyways. And so it's like, for me, it's like, if I fail, I still have time to figure it out.
Yeah. Have you ever heard the quote that's been going around recently is that like my backup plan is most people's main plan?
I saw it you shared it on your Instagram story.
Yeah.
I think when I saw it, I was like, that's so fucking crazy. Cause that really is. And you know, what's funny is everyone always asks me, what are you going to do if this doesn't work out? Motherfucker, I don't know.
Get a regular job?
Motherfucker, I got to not... Listen, let me tell you something. There ain't no plan B. All right? Plan A is working. And plan A, there ain't no other option other than for plan A to fucking work. And so everybody that's like, well, this is my backup plan. Like, don't get me wrong, bro. I got a commercial driver's license and I got a little bit of money saved up. And like, I can figure it the fuck out. But there ain't no, if this don't work out, well then this don't work out. There's no like, oh, I'm gonna do lawn care.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's never been my plan. And everyone's always been like, you gotta have a plan B. You gotta have a plan B. Like, no, motherfucker. I just gotta make sure plan A works right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if plan A doesn't work, then what are we even talking about?
I should get it fucking tattooed or quoted or something somewhere, but I need it fucking where it just says everything is figure outable.
Yeah.
Everything is figure outable. And that's like the fucking motto for the whole podcast is like, I don't know shit about technology. I was telling you when we were having technical difficulties earlier. It's like, I don't fucking know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I have a buddy that helps me with this. Thank fucking God. But like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just figure it out. I Google shit.
Yeah.
I have
YouTube.
the world at my fingertips.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
YouTube, the phones nowadays is crazy. The amount of information that you have at your disposal is so unheard of. So if you really can't figure it out,
It's your own fault.
it's your own fault. Yeah.
Bro, I always talk about tenacity. Tenacity as like a fucking trait is probably one of the best things you can have in an individual. But the problem with tenacity is like you either have it for things you want to have it for. You know what I mean? Like I can't be good at programming computers because I have no desire to be good at it.
Yeah.
But you put me in a situation where it's like you're running a business where you're controlling people who do program computers. I'm going to fucking give it everything I got.
Yeah, we
you know what I mean?
I've always thought that like the saying, I mean, and everyone's always heard it, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And it's like that thing of like, you don't really understand what that means, but like whenever you're in those situations, are you going to run from it or are you going to fucking deal with it? And it's like, if you run from it, then you'll always run from it. But if you just stand your ground one fucking time, stand your ground one time and fight with it.
Yep.
And see where you go, because more often than not, you'll get through it. And then you can just stand your ground for everything else too.
Yeah.
I don't know. People are
This is
pussies
quickly become a
nowadays.
motivational podcast.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, not motivational. Drink your beer and be a fat fuck. I don't care.
Yeah.
Live your life. Be gay. I don't know.
Whatever. Like you said, there's a lot of people that are pussies.
Oh,
But-
bro.
well, to be fair, we live in a
Bitch,
culture.
man.
We live in a culture that won't allow men to speak, and like that's why people like Joe Rogan have gotten so huge, is because he's a fucking man. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
like
A strong can kill if he wants to, man.
he's a warrior in a garden.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
But then you got people like Bert Kreischer. Like Bert Kreischer, like he's a great fucking example of like that is. There's a lot of dudes like we have friends that are that way. You know what I mean? They're just fucking party animals, and that's their whole fucking aura.
I hate it for Bert Kreischer because I like Bert Kreischer so much. Like he's like, you know, the whole FSU party guy and made something out of nothing, and he's got a good wife, and you know his wife's name is Leanne. Leanne seems to have held him down very well, but to me, Bert is a little bit of a pushover. And like if you look at it, Bert and Tom Segura are great comparisons. I have always felt that like I identify more with Tom Segura than I do
100%.
with Bert, because like Bert's like that everybody needs to be happy and cool, and Tom Segura's like
Yeah, Tom Segura is one of my favorite stand-up.
shove it.
I would say Tom Segura is top 3 stand-up comedians for me.
Ooh, let's get into that. Top
So
3.
so
What do
okay,
you got?
here I'm gonna give you my top 3 people who make me laugh the hardest. Number 1, Shane Gillis. Shane's so fucking
Love
funny
that
to
guy.
me. Because well, A, he's been canceled, and then B, like you can't double cancel a person, I guess.
no.
He's just got this fucking freedom to him. But he's like, I feel like he's one of like the guys, and that's really what it amounts to.
He's a man. He's a guy's guy.
He's just a fucking
wants
he's a
to
fucking
drink.
bro.
He wants to drink brews and go to the strip club.
He's just a fucking bro. Shane Gillis number 1. Probably Tom Segura number 2. Especially his older stuff. When Tom Segura was fat,
when he was
bro,
fat.
so fucking
the
good.
Ball Hog documentary on Netflix.
Or his
is
special on
hilarious.
Ball Hog.
Yeah.
The
Your grandma was a ball hog.
think about how many. Because what is, I don't want
Like,
to ruin
oh
it.
my god.
He's like, how many times have you come on your girlfriend? He's like, now imagine your grandma.
yeah, bro. Like,
Yo, they didn't even have TV back then. What do you think
that
they were?
was
There's a reason grandma has
unnecessary.
7. There's a reason grandma has 7 kids. There's nothing
a
better
reason-
to do.
When I think he said something. He was like, "You want to know what the plastic for is on your grandma's couch? She's a squirter," and it's like, that's disgusting.
So Tom Segura, Mark Normand is probably one of my other favorites.
I like Mark Norman.
I love the fucking zingy, like his whole, just his energy of like, like, I don't know, like that's his whole vibe. That's Mark Norman vibe, and a sound is
The Kill Tony thing is phenomenal. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've seen the little
Yeah.
thing where he be pulling people on there. I love that.
Yeah.
So you got Shane Gillis, Tom Segura, and then Mark Norman.
Those are my
right?
top 3.
All right. If
Ari
we're going-
Shaffir is like my 4th man. I
I'm
love.
a big fan.
Have you seen his special Jew?
Yeah.
It's so fucking
I don't-
funny to me.
I
I
don't
love
think
how he just
that-
picks a religion apart from the inside of it.
I don't think that Ari's not funny, right? I just think that our styles clash. So like my type of funny is like the Schultz type of funny, and so like my top 3. If we're going for like stand-up comedians, I'm gonna have to put Schultz up there.
Okay.
Andrew Schultz is gonna have to be like. The reason why is because he came in a time of he came in the cancel era, and he told them all to go fuck themselves.
He talked about everything that was canceling
Exactly,
people.
right?
Yeah.
So like, and so the other thing is that Schultz isn't just a crowd work type of guy. Schultz is an all around comedian, bro. If you've ever seen him live in comedy, he's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like I'm like one of the best ones. So we'll go with Schultz at number 1. I will definitely throw Shane Gillis on that list though. I will give Gillis the
He's so
second
fucking-
spot.
Have you seen his newest special, Beautiful Dog?
No,
Bro, fucking, I don't know what the rest of your plans are today. Fucking quit doing it. We should end this podcast. Go watch. It's so fucking funny. When you find out why his special is named Beautiful Dog, I almost shit the fucking bed.
That's
my wife, who doesn't even like stand-up comedy, was fucking like crying laughing during that
That's
podcast.
hilarious. I'll give Gillis 2. He's came in recently and like really stole the hearts of everybody. And number 3 is going to be a hard one for me. to be honest with you, because there's so many good ones out.
Bro,
now.
it really is. It's a good time for stand-up comedy.
It's the best for sure. The Blue Comedy Tour or whatever walked so that way these boys can run with it.
Well, it was before that too. That was just the most popularized one to rednecks.
It just I say the Blue Comedy Tour, Ron White. Ron
funny.
White walked so that way these boys can do whatever the fuck they want right now in comedy.
Yeah.
And like,
Bro, when I found out about dirty comedy,
oh bro,
like just like how like Joe Rogan and Shane Gillis and
Yeah.
and how those people talk, like I was like, yo, this is like
Hilarious.
it was like Family Guy stand up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I fucking love Family Guy.
It's like how we were like, it's like, I mean, that's how me and my friends joke around. It's like that real dark, like the Epstein Island thing. The memes are off this like out of this world right now, bro.
Yeah.
The ones of
Stephen Hawking.
The Stephen Hawking and the fucking midgets on the thing, and it's just like,
anytime I see one, I send it to you now.
Yeah, well, I put one on my story, and like I think Instagram like shadow banned me because of it. Yeah, because,
Really?
Well, my buddy told me he would tag me in something the other day. He's like, I can't fucking find you. Like, I can't.
They've been changing the way that they do that too, because like half the friends that were on my lower list of friends that I would share stuff with, like all of a sudden they disappeared.
Yeah, he had told me, he's like, I had to like search your entire Instagram handle in there, and I had another one of my buddies, his wife swiped up, and she was like, "This is so funny." I was like, "You should see the ones that we can't post." And she was like, I would post them. I sent her 3 of them. She was like, I'm not going to post those.
Yeah.
I was like,
100%.
Yeah, I bet you won't.
The 9/11 memes that I send Jake. Oh my god,
bro.
dude, they're so hit. Oh my god.
Me and David, bro, I'm telling you right now, if they go through our group chat, we're canceled. We're done.
So what's the name? Do you have a name for your group chat? Because I'll tell you my group chat name with the boys.
We had a group chat on Snapchat, and it is now called Rancho Mafia. It was originally Joe's Gay.
So mine is called Dick Blowers Anonymous.
Oh, Jesus, Harold. That's so great.
And I forget what it was before that one. Like the group chat names have just got like
they're out of
same
hand,
thing. If you
bro.
go through our group chat, like if you're somebody who has to watch like Gabriel Iglesias, like you're not gonna survive.
You're not gonna like this.
You're gonna see people die. You're gonna see people.
My buddy and I got a buddy who's a climber up in Athens, Georgia. He sent me a video today of a fucking forklift just cutting a guy in half. Like,
bro,
like the ground came out, like it fell out from underneath the forklift on one side, and the forklift tipped with a load on it, and he tried to run, bro. I was like, yeah, he died.
100%.
Instantaneous death.
Dude,
Snap
we were watching fucking videos of people in other countries like going underneath power lines, and then they all of a sudden like the power line falls, or like the metal thing that they're moving touches it, and they grounds everybody. And you just watch them all hear, and then they just hit the ground.
Everyone.
There was like a whole, like my brother could attest to this because he's in the group chat, or Cody, and like there was like a fucking week where we were just sending memes like that. You know what I mean? It's so fucked.
When the Stephen Hawking thing came out, there was literally like probably, like you said, a week there. That was just everything. I mean, I was just sending them all, bro. It was so bad. And then everything is so bad right now. The government, Epstein Island, all this. Y'all are so upset. Everyone's so upset. They're fucking kids. They've been fucking kids for years. Y'all are just blind to it and don't care. Like, yeah.
Was it you I messaged yesterday? I said what's ridiculous is like how much the shit that average Americans cares about is not being portrayed in the media.
Yeah, because we were talking about the previous president being on Epstein Island and the smartest human being in the
a fucking
world.
well-renowned scientist.
Yeah.
And the former president of the United States of America.
Like one of
Where
the
his
most powerful
wife-
people in the world.
Where his wife ran for fucking president and like technically won the popular vote according to the numbers. And we're not like that's not like why aren't the fucking FBI showing up at this motherfucker's door? Is it because I get that there's like a crime he can't pursue? I'm just saying that's fucking crazy.
My favorite thing is that all of the bullshit that they do towards Donald Trump, like when they went to Mar-a-Lago and they opened up the safe in Mar-a-Lago and it was just like the Joe Biden's emails or it was, Hillary Clinton's email logs in the fucking thing. Like that's such a like a goat thing to do.
Yeah.
He's such a that just goes to prove that like the only reason that they want to arrest that man is so that way he can't run again.
It's
and
insane.
Shit on everything that they've been saying.
And it makes the people who were on the fence about him want to vote for him more. You know
I
what I mean?
have never seen hatred of a president bring racial diversities together so much.
Bro,
Donald Trump is single-handedly brought together 90% of the fucking communities. Like the whole build the wall thing. Dog, you have no idea how many Spanish people are like, build the wall essay.
bro, no, literally. Literally.
Like,
It's like,
and like,
Juan talked about that on the podcast. He's like, I know. He's like, or no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the wrong thing. Do you know who, what is his name? Spanish comedian. He's like a younger dude. Ralph. His name's Ralph something.
oh yeah. He's like
He's been blowing up on TikTok and shit.
he's like a quieter. He's not like in your face.
Yeah.
comedy.
He's very like chill.
So me and my girlfriend.
Yeah.
He's funny.
He talked to me. He said he's like Republican, Mexican or Hispanic people freak me out because he's like bitch, how did you get here?
Yeah, right. Like that's my favorite thing is like I swear to God, bro, I don't care what anybody says. Cubans are the most they're adamant on the fact. The second that somebody from Cuba touches American soil, go back. Whoever's on the boat still not allowed to be here, bro. They don't want I made it, you didn't make it, get the fuck out of here.
I don't know about that, but they're all 100% Republican. Like it's crazy.
Well, they came from a fucking terrible place. I mean, you
hear that?
Yeah.
Solid feeling. We're gonna pause this for a moment. For a moment. Let's just go ahead and end it here because we're gonna do. I'm gonna do this again. You're easy to talk to. We'll definitely have you on again, especially how close you live. It fucking makes sense not to do it again.
Whenever. I love it.
Appreciate it, Cole.
Appreciate you having me on.
All right. Peace, everybody. This episode of Somehow We're Adults is over. But if you'd like to support the podcast, you can subscribe to one of the levels of the Patreon, where we will release bonus episodes that can't be found anywhere else. Any of the money that we get from the Patreon would be used to upgrade old equipment as well as get new gear so that we can make the best podcast for you to tune into. You can also follow the podcast Instagram at Somehow We're Adults, where I share clips and content about the podcast, and the link in the bio will take you to any of the Somehow We're Adults pages. I encourage you to check out another one of the episodes if this is your first time listening, and if you're a repeat listener, thank you for your support. I love making the podcast, and I hope you tune in for future episodes of Somehow We're Adults.